are back from the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island for Game 2 of today's CUNYAC Championship Weekend Baseball Tripleheader. Game 2 features the Bloodhounds of John Jay College taking on the Dolphins of the College of Staten Island. Once again, this is Joe Foreman, joined by Bobby Drake, calling all the action live from behind home plate here on CUNYAC Championship Weekend. And Bobby, many of our fans eagerly awaiting the Dolphins getting back in action after their victory last night over Baruch College. The Dolphins now taking the field for the first time this afternoon. We're about to get underway, maybe in about 10 or 15 minutes, perhaps even less than that, as the Dolphins are taking a photo to the left of home plate, as you can see. So the College of Staten Island takes on John Jay College in their second game in this CUNYAC Championship Tournament. Both the Bloodhounds and Dolphins winners of the games they played thus far. The Bloodhounds with 2 victories yesterday, the Dolphins with 1. What are you looking for from CSI entering this matchup with the Bloodhounds? Yeah, and if you're CSI, look for the bats to continue as they did yesterday. And Tom Musso on the mound, look for him to just keep control a little bit, try to limit those walks. And I think if they do that and the bats continue, that they'll be okay today. Well, I'm getting set to analyze this matchup between the Dolphins and Bloodhounds. I think a great place to start is the first meeting between these two teams from earlier this season. That's actually the first doubleheader we covered on CSI Sportsnet in 2018. The first of those 2 games between the Dolphins and Bloodhounds, a 4-3 Dolphins victory. CSI winning that game in the bottom of the 10th inning on a Joe Amato walk-off pinch hit RBI single through the left side. Dolphins win that game by a final score of 4-3. It was Derek Jentz who got the start for the Dolphins in that game, going 5 innings, allowing 3 hits and 3 runs. 2 of those runs earned. He walked 6 and struck out 7 in that game. Chris Karnbach ultimately picked up the win for the Dolphins, going an inning and allowing a pair of walks in that game for CSI. So the Dolphins took game 1 by a 1-run margin over the Bloodhounds. Same case in game number 2, as the Dolphins won game 2 by a score of 7-6 in that game for the Dolphins. As I wait for the stats to load from that game, here they are, as Christian Capion got the start in that game. Of course, Capion pitched for the Dolphins last night. Unlikely we'll see him again this weekend. He threw over 120 pitches in his victory last night over the Baruch College Bearcats. Capion, though, in this game against the Bloodhounds, went 5 innings, allowed 11 hits, 6 runs, 5 of those earned, so perhaps a blessing for the Dolphins that Capion avoids the Bloodhounds again. He had a rough start against John Jay last time, and Jared Hirschfield, the starter for the Bloodhounds, actually got into that last matchup with the Dolphins, the 7-6 CSI victory. He threw 2/3 of an inning for John Jay in that game, as the Dolphins have taken the field. And Bobby, you have the starting lineup for the College, or I should say, for the Bloodhounds of John Jay.
And your starting lineup for John Jay. Batting first, playing second base, number 21, Stephen Catawugno. Batting second, Alexis Ramirez. He'll be playing third base, number 4. Batting third, number 30, the right fielder, Ryan Osborne. Batting fourth, designated hitter, number 18, William De La Cruz. Batting fifth for John Jay, Brian Garcia. He'll be playing first base. Batting sixth, number 9, playing left field will be C.J. Meyer. Batting seventh, the shortstop, number 11, will be Philip Belomo. And batting 8th, Robert Monsino, catcher, number 13. And batting 9th, the center fielder, Jarrell Diaz, number 19.
And that lineup for the Bloodhounds will face Tom Musso for the Dolphins. Musso comes in with a record of 4-3, an ERA of 4.73 over 11 appearances and 7 starts. And his first pitch of the game misses up and away for ball 1. And we are underway with game 2 of today's tripleheader from the CSI Baseball Complex. Here's the 1-0, and that misses down and in. Stephen Catogno, the batter, leading off for the Bloodhounds of John Jay. Comes in a .408 hitter, though he is not among the qualifiers to lead the team in batting, as he hits one down the left field line, and it is just foul. Catogno making a bid for a leadoff base hit on that swing. That one fouled by about 2 or 3 feet. Here's the 2-1 from Musso. That's taken down and in for ball 3. Continuing with the line on Musso. He's thrown 40 innings this season over the 11 appearances and 7 starts. He has allowed 40 hits, 31 runs, 21 of those earned. He's walked 30 and struck out 43. 150 opposing batters hitting at 267 against him as that's fouled off. That will run the count full.
And as we know, Joe, Tom Musso has great stuff out there on the mound. Does throw hard. The only issue could be his walks at times.
30 walks in 40 innings so far this season. Not a great number, but we've seen worse as the 3-2 is fouled back. We've said it time and time again. Walks are often the worst enemy of a pitcher and of a team, as it puts the team in a tough spot when free passes are continually issued over the course of a game. Oftentimes those turn into runs. As that one caught the bat, I don't think Catuogno had any intention of swinging at that pitch. And instead it caught the handle and went foul. Count remains full. Here comes another payoff pitch. That's grounded over to first. Muzio plays it on the hop. The underhand toss to Musso is in time for the first out.
So good job there by Frank Muzio. Thought the ball got away from him there for a second, but he stayed with it and got the first out.
That will bring up Alexis Martinez. I believe he was just announced as Alex. Martinez comes into the action hitting .299 in 77 plate appearances this season. He's ahead in the count 1-0. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That's skied foul. Back into the seats as it lands to our right. Count even at 1. So taking his time, here comes the 1-1 pitch. That's in for a called strike 2. Here comes the 1-2 offering. That's hit well out to left field. Glenister giving chase, ranging back to his left, and he makes the catch for out number 2.
And initially off the bat, I thought that could have been trouble, Joe, as we've seen in the first game, as the ball just keeps carrying. But Glenn Glenister was right under it, making good play for the second out.
Have to agree with you there, Bobby. I thought that was trouble off the bat for sure. And a couple of those fly balls into the outfield last game that I didn't initially believe traveled too far. It appeared as if the hitters got underneath those. That one was hit more on a line. Wind blowing out left center field, it appears, so that ball was hit into the wind. Now the flag blowing towards center. Wind from left to right in the outfield as Ryan Osborne takes a called strike 1.
And it wouldn't be one of our broadcasts if we didn't bring up the wind and the flagpole out there.
Not the first time we've made that comment this year, and the wind always seems to play a role in the way fly balls travel, and I guess that's inevitable, but certainly plays a big role here at the CSI Baseball Complex. There's an exceptional amount of wind on most days. Osborne in a 2-strike hole. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and Osborne just got a piece. Still softball going on down the hill from us. I believe they're in their 3rd game. It was Hunter over Lehman in game 2, CSI over Baruch in game 1. And I believe it was Lehman over Baruch 4-1 in the first inning of game number 3 when we visited down there, as almost the entire Dolphins infield plus Tom Musso and at least 1 or 2 of the outfielders were on their way back to the dugout following that last pitch.
And Musso spun around and had his head down walking towards the dugout as he was for sure that was a strike.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. That's in the dirt. which will even the count at 2. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Musso. And that's lined into right center field. It's down for a base hit. Miola fields it on a hop. And holding at first base with a 2-out single is Ryan Osborne.
The designated hitter, number 18, William De La Cruz.
That will bring up the designated hitter, William De La Cruz. De La Cruz, a .268 hitter on the season in only 56 plate appearances. Runner going from first. It gets away from Sean Becker, and I'm not sure Osborne realized it. But Becker got on that ball quickly. Not sure that Osborne had a chance to take third base, but certainly no play on Osborne at second.
Yeah, and that's why you always want to peek in as a runner. Because you never know. He could have had a shot at third there.
With that miss and the ball skipping into the Bloodhounds on deck circle, the count is 1-0, and the 1-0 pitch is taken low for ball 2. Tom Musso thought he had a called strike 3, which would have brought the top half of the first to a close. Instead now, pitching with a runner in scoring position. A 2-0 count on the cleanup hitter, De La Cruz. 2 outs in the first. And the 2-0 pitch is in for a called strike. Two and 1 the count. Runner going. Throw over to third by Becker is high. It sails into left field. And the first run of the game will come home.
No, Joe, I think they're calling it out on batter's interference as Becker's shaken up, but I heard it as well.
Yeah, Becker
and the umpire called him out.
You're right, Bobby, as Becker may have taken that bat to the hand. I didn't see that until you mentioned it, as I was focused on the runner heading for third base. I'm going to get a look at it. We'll stay with you for just a few moments. I'm going to pull it up right now.
And let's hope Becker is okay after that, because he's a huge part of this team.
I'm going to see if I can get another look at it before our stream here passes that moment.
And there's our trainer, Joe, taking care of it, as always.
Nope, I couldn't catch it, so we'll step aside and take a break. On the batter's interference, top half of the first inning comes to a close. No score from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins get their first turn at bat when we come back.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
No one ever won a race because it was their turn. And guzzling the right sports drink never won all 3 sets. You can't talk your way through a tournament, and luck doesn't last. Real champions know that it takes more to do more, because wanting it just isn't good enough. You've got to be smarter, faster, tougher. After all, if championships were easy, everybody would have one. City University of New York Athletic Conference. Learn, play, succeed.
Back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Bottom half of the first inning about to get underway after the top half came to a close on a batter's interference call. And Bobby and I weren't sure if the hitter offered at the pitch, but Becker definitely had his hand make contact with the bat. May have been on the follow-through of the throw. We spoke about it in the break, but either way, that brought the top half of the first to a close. Now in the bottom half, the College of Staten Island gets their first turn at bat against Jared Hirschfield. Before we give you the numbers for Hirschfield, the lineup for the College of Staten Island is as follows. Leading off is the center fielder, number 1, Jordan Wilson. Batting second, the third baseman, number 39, Anthony DeMarco. Batting third is the catcher, number 35, Sean Becker. In the cleanup spot and playing right field is number 23, Nick Miola. Batting fifth and playing first base is Frank Muzio. Batting sixth and in left field is number 25, Glenn Glenister. Batting seventh, the second baseman, number 11, Anthony Lozada. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, number 32, John Pomerico. And batting ninth is the shortstop, number 2, Jet Navertney. They will face Jared Hirschfield of the Bloodhounds. And I mentioned Hirschfield got an inning of work against the Dolphins earlier this season. And overall on the season, he appeared in 6 games, started 5 of them. This is start number 6. He pitched to a 2-3 record, an ERA of 7.08. In 20 1/3 innings, he allowed 26 hits, 24 runs, 16 of those earned. He walked 18 and struck out 19, 18 opposing batters, hit .325 against him.
So Jordan, I believe, leading this Dolphins team in average.
I believe you're right, Bobby, as Wilson hits one out to right center. This could be trouble, and that one is in the gap all the way to the wall.
And that's a for sure triple.
This will be 3 bases for Jordan Wilson, as there is no way he will be thrown out at third. And a leadoff triple for Jordan Wilson gets the Dolphins going early in this game in the bottom half of the first inning.
Yeah, and can't start a game any better than that if you're the Dolphins. And if you're Jordan Wilson, got to be excited after that. And they're in business here early.
That will bring up Anthony DeMarco, where contact of just about any kind should bring home a run. Won't take a deep fly ball, really anything but a line drive into the glove of an infielder should get the job done as DeMarco takes a called strike 1. Oh, 0-1 the count on DeMarco. And the 0-1 is swung on and missed. DeMarco quickly in a 2-strike hole. Here comes the 0-2 pitch, and that misses high. Dolphins didn't give up much yesterday. Only 2 runs surrendered by Christian Capion to the Bearcats. If somehow Hirschfield could strand Wilson at third, that would be huge.
So you figure if you're DeMarco, hit anywhere but besides the pitcher, should be a run.
I think it's safe to say you're probably right about that, Bobby. As the 1-2 is upcoming, and that's in the dirt. It gets by to the backstop, and Jordan Wilson will come home with the first Dolphins run of the game. CSI leads 1-0.
Yep, and the Dolphins will take it after that leadoff triple by Jordan Wilson, getting things started and really setting the tone early here for the Dolphins.
So a great start for the College of Staten Island. They've jumped out to an early 1-0 lead. We didn't see our first run of Game 1 earlier today between the Lions and Bearcats scored until the 4th inning. As Anthony DeMarco looks at a pitch high for ball 3. And Hirschfield will step off.
And that Dolphins dugout certainly lively here for the start of this game.
They're a rowdy bunch, to say the least, and of course you've been a part of that before.
Certainly are.
You know all about it. As the 3-2 pitch. Well, the scoreboard read 3-2.
Yep, you're right,
DeMarco didn't
Joe.
know the count.
Yeah.
I was confused for a moment.
Yeah, I think DeMarco was a little unsure, but that's a good at-bat there after falling behind, I believe, 1-2 was.
The catcher, number 35.
That will bring up Sean Becker. Becker also among the Dolphins' leading hitters alongside Jordan Wilson, as well as Anthony DeMarco.
And I'm assuming that finger is okay. Hopefully for Sean Becker.
He swings and misses at a pitch in the dirt for strike one. DeMarco doesn't have a big lead off of first, but so often we see these left-handed pitchers who have a view of the runner over at first base pay extra attention to them, as Hirschfield throws over there. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That's up and away. That evens the count at 1.
And Hirschfield taking a long time in between pitches with the runner on.
It just seems as if when the pitcher has a clear view of that runner, as he comes set, he just won't let him get a step. And sometimes that's the right play, but I'm not sure the Dolphins would look to steal a base here. And once again, that one skips away from Mancino. That will allow DeMarco to take second base, as it looks like Hirschfield is making an appeal to the umpire about something. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah, I think he was asking if Becker went around.
Looks like he pointed over to first base. Two balls and 2 strikes the count. Long look in from Hirschfield, who steps off. And the 2-2 pitch misses up and in, and now Hirschfield in danger of issuing his second walk of the inning.
That's a good take there by Sean Becker. Not chasing it above the hands. And that'll be huge for these Dolphins hitters not to chase that high pitch.
And the 3-2 pitch is in for a called strike 3. So instead of issuing his second base on balls, Jared Hirschfield picks up his first strikeout. There is 1 away.
Yeah, that was perfectly executed pitch by Hirschfield. Pain in the outside part of that plate.
That will bring up the Dolphins' cleanup hitter, Nick Miola. Miola third on the team in batting at .327. The top 4 hitters in this Dolphins batting order are the 4 leading hitters. Wilson at .340, DeMarco at .338, Miola at .327, and Becker at .319. Anthony DeMarco stands in scoring position at second base. 1 away in the Dolphins' half of the first. Here's the 0-1 to Miola. And once again, Robert Mancino forced to block a ball in front of the plate. He's been busy. Has already seen 2 get by him. I think the first was a wild pitch. I'll check what the official scoring was on the second. Both ruled wild pitches, so the second clearly bounced further in front of Mancino than I thought. Tough to tell from this angle behind home plate as the 1-1 pitch misses high for ball 2.
And we'll see if Miola can split the gaps here with the favorable count. As we know, there's a big outfield out there.
Here's the 2-1, and that's popped up. Just beyond first base, and ranging back is Garcia to make the catch for the second out.
So getting under it a bit is Miola, and that'll bring up Frank Muzio.
Muzio has seen the batting average drop off a bit.
Frank Muzio.
down around 250. It's really been in that 250 to 260 range for a while. I think he came into last night's game hitting a shade over 260 as he takes a called strike one. Still a very good 393 on base percentage for Frank. He's drawn 19 walks this season. That's the most on the team. He swings and misses at a pitch out of the zone for strike two. In stark contrast to Finlandia, nearly this entire Dolphins roster has an on-base percentage of at least 300. I think only one player is below that mark. Make it two, as that's it out to left field, or I should say center field. And coming out to make the catch is Diaz for the final out of the inning. So the Dolphins score the game's first run on a leadoff triple by Jordan Wilson, who then scored on a wild pitch through the first inning of play here at the CSI Baseball Complex in Game 2 of today's triple-header. Our score, CSI 1, John Jay nothing. Bloodhounds come to bat in the top of the second when we come back.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow!
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
And we're back. Top half of the second inning about to get started. Dolphins lead the Bloodhounds. Dolphins lead the Bloodhounds in the top half of the second by a score of 1-0 as I had my microphone up around my head. Certainly of no use up there, as the look of bewilderment on Bobby's face gave it away. Brian Garcia leads things off for John Jay in the top of the second. Counts even at 1 ball and 1 strike. And the 1-1 pitch, and looked like Garcia got a piece. Sean Becker is once again in some discomfort.
Yeah, Sean Becker having a tough go-around in the early innings. Today's game.
The umpire will visit with Musso, hand him a new baseball to give Becker some time. Is that the same hand again?
I'm not sure. Hopefully not, though.
Tough to tell what happened on that one.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look either. I wasn't sure.
Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Brian Garcia. As that's grounded to the right side, Lozada fields it and throws out Garcia at first base for the first out.
So good job here by Tommy Musso getting that first out.
First out, always key.
Number 9, C.J. Meyer.
That will bring up C.J. Meyer, Bloodhounds left fielder. Meyer, a .312 hitter, good for second on the team behind Brian Garcia. who was just retired to open up this inning. And Meyer fouls the first pitch back.
Yeah, Meyer's a good player. I remember him from the previous couple years. Always a positive in this lineup.
And the 0-1 pitch is in for a called strike 2. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And that gets by Becker. Looked like it hit off one of his guards, but of course no base runners, so it won't be of consequence. One ball and 2 strikes the count. And the pitch from Musso misses outside, evening the count at 2.
And a good waste pitch from Musso there, trying to get C.J. Meyer to chase a little bit.
John Jay boasts a team batting average of .294. And we spoke about that when these two teams met earlier in the season, as that's hit off the glove of Musso. It knocks his glove off. He throws, and his throw is in time. Great job staying with that play by Tom Musso. Knocked it down with his glove, lost his glove, and tracked that ball down behind the mound, making the throw on to first in time for the second out.
Yeah, that is some play by Tommy Musso, showing his athleticism as well, fielding his position to the tee right there, losing his glove, as you said, and staying with the play, getting a big second out.
That will bring up Philip Belomo. Belomo, a .340 hitter in 47 plate appearances. Those 47 plate appearances not enough to qualify him for team leads in batting statistics. Belomo ahead in the count, 1-0. And he pops one up foul behind the Bloodhounds dugout. Here's the 1-1, and that's in for a called strike 2.
Yeah, and if Musso starts throwing that at any count, he's going to be really hard to hit here.
1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Tom Musso looking to complete a 1-2-3 inning, and not sure that will get it done, as that's a down the right field line foul into the Bloodhounds bullpen. Looking ahead to the next half inning for the Dolphins, it will be 6, 7, and 8. Glenister, Lozada, and Palmarico due up. Still one more out to get for Tom Musso in the top half of the second. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that sails over the head of Belomo.
Yeah, lucky there it didn't wind up hitting Belomo.
In that first game yesterday, the batter's box was a bit of a dangerous place to be. As I mentioned before, 2 players hit square on the helmet by a pitch, one on each side for the Beavers and the Bearcats. Fortunately, both players remained in the game. The first one was a shot off the helmet. You could hear it loud and clear from just about anywhere within the CSI baseball complex. The second one, I think, was on a breaking ball. As the 2-2 pitch is grounded over to short, Evertney handles it and throws out Belomo for the final out in the top half of the second. A pair of zeros put up on the scoreboard by Tom Musso in this one. Heading into the bottom half of the second inning, his team still leads 1-0 CSI over John Jay. Bottom half of the second when we come back.
All the action as it happens.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-one physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke.
Glenn Glenister steps into the box to lead things off for the Dolphins in the bottom half of the second. CSI leading 1-0 over the Bloodhounds of John Jay College. And Glenister fouls the first pitch back. Oh, and 1 the count on Glenister. I've been in a war with my allergies since we came on the air, and I'm starting to lose that battle.
Keep fighting, Joe.
Long way to go. 0-2 the count on Glenister. And the breaking ball from Hirschfield sails up into the backstop off the glove of Monsino. One ball and 2 strikes the count. And Glenister swings and misses at the off-speed pitch for strike 3, and that's the second strikeout of the game for Jared Hirschfield.
Yeah, tough pitch there for Glenister to handle, a bit in. Probably would have been a ball. But regardless, nice pitch from Hirschfield.
That will bring Anthony Lozada to the plate. Lozada, early in the season, was one of the most dependable hitters in this lineup, was hitting over 300 for a large part of the season. His average down to 250 as he looks at ball 1. Here's the 1-0. And that misses upstairs for ball 2. Lozada ahead in the count, 2-0. And the 2-0 from Hirschfield is swung on and missed. A big swing by Lozada for the first strike.
And I think if the Dolphins are going to try to take another championship here, Joe, it's going to be very important for Lozada and Palmarico to do their fair share and get on base.
2-1 the count. And the 2-1 is Scott out to right field. Osborne coming in. And he makes the catch after losing the hat. Stays with the play for the second out.
The designated hitter, number 32, John Palmarico.
John Palmarico is the batter. I think the defining moment of Palmarico's season was that walk-off extra base hit against the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. Mentioned the Dolphins will need him to get going moving forward in this tournament as he looks at ball 1. Palmarico enters today's game hitting at 242. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That skips into the glove of Monsino for ball 2.
So a hitter's count here for Pomerico. See if he'll think one spot.
I wouldn't have been shocked to see a big swing at a pitch he liked. Instead, he takes a called strike one as the Wasps begin to make their way in. You definitely don't want to do that, Bobby. The center field camera won't withstand that. We'll see. We actually had the raid spray in here yesterday and began amassing a kill count. We weren't keeping tally, but several Wasps went down yesterday in and around the press box. As that's it out to deep right field. Osborne giving chase, looks up, it's over his head. It bounces and then one hops the wall. As Pomerico is into second base with a 2-out double.
So a nice piece of hitting there from John Pomerico. And he's showing it over and over. He has good pop and good power to all angles of the field, and is showing it there with the right center 2-out double.
That's a quick way to bring an end to the talk of Wasps as Pomerico is on with a 2-out double. That will bring up Jet Novotny. Novotny continues to see that batting average climb. He's up at 281 now. Seems as if every time we broadcast another men's baseball game, Novotny is at least 5 or 10 points higher in that department. Jet ahead in the count, 1-0. And the 1-0 pitch is taken for a called strike 2. Novotny thought about offering at that pitch and decided to hold up. Here's the 1-1 from Hirschfield, and that's upstairs. Novotny now ahead in the count, 2-1. It's back to the top of the order. Should Jet Novotny keep things going for the Dolphins here in the bottom of the second? Jordan Wilson, the CSI leadoff hitter, on deck. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's it sharply on the ground, off the glove of Belomo and into center field. Pomerico rounds third, and he will come in to score the second Dolphins run. CSI takes a 2-0 lead.
And you said it, Joe. Jet Novotny continuing to swing a hot bat as he lines that one back up the middle. And a good attempt there by Philip Belomo, getting a piece of it. But once that reached the outfield grass, pretty sure it was going to be a run, and the Dolphins take a 2-0 lead.
That would have been an exceptional play by Belomo if he could have kept that on the infield. Undoubtedly would have saved the run if he was able to make the play. Got a glove on it. But that ball ricocheted away and into center field, and that left John Jay with no chance to throw out the runner coming in to score. Pomerico from second base as Jordan Wilson looks at ball one. Wilson tripled to get things going for the Dolphins back in the first inning. Scored on a wild pitch. Here's the 1-0 as the runner is going from first, and Novotny will slide in safely. No chance for Robert Monsino.
Yeah, there's usually not going to be much of a chance, especially if Jet gets a good jump over there at first.
And that he did, a good jump for Novotny on the stolen base. Dolphins now have a runner in scoring position once again. Still 2 outs. Pomerico got things going with 2 outs in the inning. A long double to deep right center field. Then scored on the RBI single off the bat of Jet Novotny. Two balls and 1 strike the count. And Wilson looks at ball 3. Anthony DeMarco would be next. Hirschfield taking his time, and I believe Wilson called for time. We've said it before this year, Bobby. You can't count this Dolphins team out of an inning. Even if there are 2 outs, they can certainly get things going in a hurry, and they've done just that.
They certainly can, Joe. This lineup likes to do damage with 2 outs.
Here's the 3-1 pitch, and that's off the outside corner for ball 4. So a pair of speedy base runners on for the Dolphins. Jet Navertney over at second, and Jordan Wilson on at first. Anthony DeMarco will be the batter. And it looks like Robert Monsino will have a word with Jared Hirschfield.
The third baseman, number 39, Anthony DeMarco.
DeMarco drew a walk back in the first inning and already seeing his second plate appearance here in the second. I say back in the first inning as if it was several innings ago, but we're still in the early stages of this game. CSI leading 2-0 as DeMarco takes a big swing and comes up empty.
Yeah, DeMarco with a good, aggressive first pitch swinging. Trying to drive one to left field, although that pitch was on the outer half of the plate.
Comes the 0-1. And once again, a pitch down in the dirt bounces away from Monsino. Both Navertney and Wilson will advance one base. Again, tough to tell from this angle. I think I have to assume that's a wild pitch. If it is, that would be the third for Jared Hirschfield.
And I think so, and that's even more important because if Hirschfield throws anything down in the dirt and it kicks even the slightest left or right, Jet has a good chance of scoring.
I think Navertney will be ready to break for the plate each and every pitch, as Hirschfield has had trouble reaching on some of his pitches, as that skied out to shallow center, and ranging back to make the catch is the second baseman, Catuogno, for the final out of the inning, but not before the Dolphins add another run on a pair of base hits. And heading into the third inning, CSI leads John Jay by a score of 2-0 here on CUNYAC Championship Weekend. This is exclusive CUNY Championship coverage on CSI Sportsnet, exclusively on CSIDolphins.com.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins leading the Bloodhounds 2-0. CSI continues to roll here in the CUNYAC tournament. Big win last night. And ahead 2-0 early in this game as Robert Monsino looks at ball 1. It's been a busy day behind the plate for Monsino. Has faced attempting to block several wild pitches from Jared Hirschfield, some that potentially could have been wild pitches had they not been blocked. I think the wild pitch count for Hirschfield is 3, potentially 4. I'll double check that in just a minute as the count evens at 1-1 on Monsino. He swings and misses at the 1-1 pitch for strike 2.
So, of course, it's got to be good feeling out there for Tommy Musso with a 2-run lead. Even if it's a little bit of breathing room, it's something.
Here's the 1-2, and that is swung on and missed by Monsino for strike 3, and that is the first strikeout of the game for Tom Musso.
The center fielder, number 19, Jarrell Diaz.
That will bring up Jarrell Diaz. Diaz enters the game a .261 hitter, and he looks at a called strike 1. Here comes the 0-1, and that's fouled straight back. The 0-2 pitch, and nice stop there by Becker, reaching out to his left, but once again would have been inconsequential with no runners on base. And that's been the way Tom Musso has operated for most of this game thus far. Only one base runner against him to this point. As the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3, Jarrell Diaz goes down on strikes, and that's Tom Musso's second punch out.
Yeah, and you're really going to like the way Tom Musso is coming out here today, Joe, as he's challenging these Bloodhound hitters coming right at them.
Public address announces Stephen Catuño, so that's how I'll proceed moving forward. Just assuming they have a pronunciation guide somewhere down the hall with CUNY handling the pronunciations this game. Finlandia was actually up in the press box with us earlier going through pronunciations, so we had them for the Lions. As far as I know, none of the other teams have given us pronunciation guides. Of course, we're familiar with the Dolphins as Catuño looks at the 1-0 pitch, and it's in for a called strike, evening the count at 1. And the 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed, and I think it's safe to say Tom Musso has these hitters guessing.
Certainly does, and he's one strike away from striking out the side.
1-2 the count. Musso making a bid for his third punch out of the inning, and he'll have to throw at least one more to pick that strikeout up as that's fouled away. Tom Musso had very stellar numbers for the Dolphins this season, and then I was surprised to see his ERA up around 5. That's a big jump from where it was the last time we saw it. And he's pitching much more like the pitcher that we became accustomed to seeing throughout the season in this game. I'm not sure we covered more than one of Musso's starts this year. I think he did start one game that we covered here on CSI Sports. I saw a lot of Derek Gents this year.
Yeah.
As the 2-2 pitch misses up and away, and that will run the count full.
And if you're Musso, you just want to split the plate here. Got to challenge him. Don't want to abort a 2-out walk.
3-2 the count. Here's the payoff pitch. And that is a tough spot to take a fastball as Catuño was hit.
Yeah.
Looked like on the right forearm. He's a left-handed batter, so that's his forearm out in front. And he will take first base on the hit by pitch.
Yeah, that certainly hurts a bit. Looks like he's rubbing his leg a little bit, Joe. Might have got him on the leg as he's trying to stretch it out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're right, Bobby. It was the leg. Right on the knee, maybe. Yeah, the right knee. You're right.
And the head coach will take a look.
That's the first hit batter of the game for Musso. Hadn't issued a walk either. Musso's had good command to this point. It's only the second base runner of the game for the Bloodhounds. Catuño looks like he'll be okay. That will bring Alexis Martinez to the plate. Martinez 0 for 1, flew out back in the first. And that one's behind Martinez. And all of a sudden, Tom Musso's lost his control as taking a big turn at second was Catuño, but he decides better of it. We'll head back to second.
Yeah, and taking a look out there, head coach Mike Morrow just signaling to Tom Musso to just take a deep breath, and he's fine.
He's working with a 2-run lead, 2 outs. Top of the third inning as that's taken inside. Musso now behind in the count 2-0, and his command seems to have departed him. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. And taking a big 2-0 swing was Martinez, and he rolls that one foul. Catuño, the runner over at second, was hit by a pitch and advanced on the wild pitch as that's ripped down the line foul. That will even the count at 2. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Tom Musso looking to make a big pitch to put an end to this inning. Here comes the 2-2 offering. Runner goes. And that one down in the dirt. Sean Becker got a piece of it, but easily taking third base was Catuño. Comes the 3-2, and that is on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Martinez didn't like it, but Tom Musso ultimately does strike out the side, and the Bearcats are denied their first run of the game in the top half of the third. Tom Musso keeps the Bearcats off of the scoreboard. His team still leads 2-0. Dolphins come to bat in the bottom half of the third, leading by 2 when we come back.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed all. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me.
Bottom half of the third inning about to get started. 3, 4, and 5 for the Dolphins in their half of inning number 3. It will be Becker, Miola, and Muzio due up for CSI. They held on to a 2-0 lead in the previous half inning. Runner did reach third base, but Tom Musso strands him right there as he ultimately strikes out the side. And the first pitch in the bottom half of the third from Hirschfield, and this is down and into Sean Becker for ball 1. Becker struck out looking in the first inning. 0 for 1 on the game. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's in the dirt for ball 2. And the 2-0 is in for a called strike. Trying to pull up the latest from softball. Should have that in a few moments. I could actually check into our second live stream going on. Mike Babuski has the call of all of the women's softball action today. I believe the plan right now is for Bobby and I to join Mike tomorrow for the CUNYAC Championship, but we haven't received confirmation on that yet. Either way, we will have coverage of tomorrow's CUNYAC Softball Championship. Wow, the Men's Baseball Championship will be covered on Facebook Live. That stream being produced by CUNY.
And hopefully these allergies take it a little bit easier on you tomorrow, Joe.
Yeah, it's been really the latter half of Game 1 and into this game have not been kind to me. It came out of nowhere. I don't help myself by refusing to take allergy medication, but it's certainly been a long afternoon. As the count runs full on Sean Becker, 3-2. And the 3-2 is lined into shallow right field for a base hit. And Sean Becker is on to lead off the Dolphins' half of the 3rd inning.
A nice job by Becker there. Just going the other way.
That will bring Nick Miola to the plate. Miola 0 for 1 in this game. Dolphins have scored a single run in each of the first 2 innings. Looking to add more here in the 3rd. Third baseman Martinez is about halfway in from where he would normally be to a spot that is all the way in on the infield grass. And Miola looks at a pitch down in the dirt for ball 1. Showed no indication that he planned to lay down a bunt. Want to know the count on Miola. And that's it sharply on the ground through the middle for a base hit. That one skipped off the second base bag as well on its way to center field. And moving up 1 base is Sean Becker as Nick Miola reaches with a single.
Yeah, Nick Miola with another nice piece of hitting following Becker's as he singles one up the middle. And Dolphins are in business here with no one on, with 2 men on and no one out.
Well, Becker hit one softly into right field on a full count. And Nick Miola early in his at-bat, hitting one sharply through the middle of the diamond, and that will bring up Frank Muzio. Once again, Martinez in a bit on this first pitch, and Muzio will indeed look to bunt. Bunts one back toward the mound. Great bunt by Muzio. Hirschfield's only play is to first base. Both runners move up. Sean Becker to 3rd, Nick Miola to 2nd. Now there are 2 in scoring position for Glenn Glenister.
Yeah, it certainly was a good job and a good bunt by Frank Muzio. And if you're Glenn Glenister up at the plate, you got to love what you're seeing with 2 RBI opportunities here.
So Glenister with a big opportunity to break this game open a bit more. CSI leads by 2 runs. They could double that lead with a base hit right here. And that one blocked by Monsino again. And Jared Hirschfield certainly isn't doing his catcher any favors right now. It seems every at-bat that goes more than 3 pitches, there's at least 1 that bounces in the dirt. And it's been really tough on Monsino behind the plate. I believe I commended him the last time we covered the Bloodhounds, and he's been forced to work hard behind the plate again today as Glenister hits one out deep to left field. This one is towards the wall, and that ball is gone. A 3-run homer for Glenn Glenister, who flips the bat halfway down the first base line. And Glenister can savor this one, as we've seen him robbed so many times on well-struck balls, and there was no robbing him of that 3-run homer as he trots around third base, and he will come home scoring the 5th Dolphins run. A 3-run homer off the bat of Glenn Glenister has given the Dolphins a 5-0 lead.
And that's a beautiful piece of hitting there by Glenn Glenister, as he got all of that one, and he knew it off the bat. And as you said, that little bat flip halfway down the first base line, and that's got to feel good for Glenn Glenister.
It has to, as he's hit the ball very well, especially down the stretch of the season, and just couldn't catch a break. It seems like every time he hit the ball hard, there was a great play made against him, or he just couldn't find an opening in the outfield, but he made no mistakes on that swing. That was a no-doubter. You don't often see many of those here at the CSI Baseball Complex. We saw one that went foul earlier off the bat of Joey Krug, and Glenn Glenister puts that one just to the left of the flagpole out in left center field, and looking up helplessly was C.J. Meyer out there in left. He knew it off the bat, gave a bit of a chase and a look, but no chance for him, obviously, as that ball cleared the wall by a good distance. And we may have a pitching change here, as there is a pitcher getting warm in the Bloodhounds bullpen, but the ball is yet to be taken from Jared Hirschfield. And it looks like it's just a mound conference for now, as Anthony Lozada will be the batter. Dolphins now leading 5-0 early in this game, and CSI has brought some of their best swings of the season into the CUNYAC tournament from what we've seen thus far. Yesterday, the Dolphins scored 11 runs in a 9-inning game against Baruch, handing them their first loss of the tournament. Of course, Baruch ultimately eliminated today, and now the Dolphins have put up 5 runs on 6 hits in the first 3 innings against John Jay, a team that played them very closely in the regular season.
Yeah, and as if they weren't already fired up, that'll certainly get this team going, and that's just got to feel good for Glenn right there. As you said, after all the times getting robbed of line drives.
And Anthony DeMarco, after Lozada is hit by the pitch, exited the dugout, and he will be fortunate if he is not ejected from this game. The umpires will confer with the John Jay manager. And the Dolphins dugout is not happy. I can hear someone screaming from that Dolphins dugout, and they are being reprimanded by the umpire. Well, I'm not sure we can repeat much of what is being said down there. Bobby's listening in, so I'll stay quiet for a moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a word. We've got several fans and players screaming. Not the best of language, so yeah, you're right. We're not going to repeat that. But certainly a little turn of events here.
Certainly not suitable for work, to say the least, as I think that's the end of the line for Jared Hirschfield.
Yeah.
And certainly no intent. That was a breaking ball, or at least it appeared to be a breaking ball, and
I'm not sure what the pitch was.
It didn't come in with much velocity, to say the least. As it looks like.
And I'm not sure who reacted out of the Dolphins dugout. Did you get to see it?
It was DeMarco who ran
out.
It was DeMarco? DeMarco ran out onto the field.
Okay.
He was halfway between the dugout and the third base line. And head coach Mike Morrow immediately screaming at DeMarco to get back in the dugout.
And I could see why DeMarco took a little bit of exception to it, as maybe Glenn's bat flip had something to do with it.
You know, Bobby,
if that is the case,
I didn't even think of that.
You know what I mean?
That very well could have been it. But like I said, it looked like a breaking ball. And why would they hit Lozada? I guess if you hit Glenister, you're getting tossed.
Yeah, they hit him because he was the next guy. If that's the case, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that is the case. But
you know, I think you're right,
I just
Bobby.
don't know. Yeah,
I think you're right. If he was hit intentionally, that's probably a safe bet as to why. As Glenister, halfway down the first base line, really took in that home run, and that's putting it mildly. He was walking down the first base line, and then halfway to first base, he took a look of admiration toward his home run and then flipped the bat right toward the John Jay dugout on top of it. He wasn't looking at the dugout when he did it, but that was directly in the sight line of several John Jay players stationed on the top step.
And a fan from the John Jay side has to be pretty much restrained over there. We can't really get a camera. I'll try to.
I didn't see that.
No, camera doesn't catch it. He's still screaming and barking. He's gonna have to get calmed down. I think he's gonna escort it out. I'm not sure.
So it was the guy in the blue hat with the orange bill.
Yeah, he's livid, to say the least.
Too bad we couldn't get a camera on that. Well, you certainly don't want to see things escalate here,
No,
but
that was a bit of a mess.
could you imagine I'm asking more of a question, not as a hypothetical, but Bobby, could you imagine one of your former Dolphins teammates taking it upon themselves to retaliate late in this game should they have a lead?
No, I don't see it, especially after what we just saw head coach Mike Morrow do.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be wise.
Mike Morrow certainly would not appreciate it, and I'm
Yeah.
not encouraging anyone to retaliate or asking you to name anybody, but
Right. If I was a betting man, I'd say no. But, I mean, you never know.
well, they're still sorting things out behind the Bloodhounds dugout. A nice crowd has gathered around the entrance to the CSI baseball complex on the first base side, so things just became a bit more interesting very quickly as the new pitcher is Danny Wynn. Lost in all of that was a pitching change. I do have the numbers on Wynn as well. Danny Wynn enters action for the Bloodhounds with a record of 3-1 over 9 relief appearances. He's pitched to a 1.48 ERA. In 24 and a third innings, he's allowed 21 hits, only 5 runs, 4 of those earned. He's walked 4 and struck out 19. 90 opposing batters hitting at .233 against him. Well, I guess they don't have a pronunciation guide, as John Pomerico was just announced it as John Pomerico, so maybe I should have just stuck to my guns with some of these pronunciations as Pomerico swings and misses for strike 1. I believe it was Danny Wynn who surrendered the game-winning hit to Joe Amato, if I remember correctly, and that run that scored on the Amato base hit Jet Navertney was unearned. So if that is the case, then the one unearned run that Wynn has allowed this season was against the Dolphins, and it was a game-winning run. Very interesting. They go to win here in a 5-run game. It is early, and the Bloodhounds, I'm sure, believe that they still have plenty of time to get back in this, but burning Wynn in this game, should he go 5 or 6 innings the rest of the way, you don't have him for the rest of this CUNYAC championship. And the 2-1 is swung on and missed by Pomerico. As I'm getting some text messages asking me what's going on here.
Yeah, as am I.
So a lot of our viewers very interested. I'll respond to some of those during the break. And Pomerico with an ugly looking swing there at the 2-2 pitch. He goes down on strikes. Well, also lost in all of that was me updating my scorecard. I'm about 4 batters behind. And Jet Navertney takes down and away for ball 1. The runner on first is Anthony Lozada. Was immediately hit by a pitch following Glenn Glenister's 3-run homer, and Jet Navertney softly lines one towards second base. That one did make contact with the dirt, so forced to make a throw over to first was Coutinho for the final out of the inning, but not before things escalate here at the CSI Baseball Complex. The Dolphins increased their lead from 2 to 5, but tensions rise as Anthony Lozada is hit by a pitch, sparking some outrage from the Dolphins dugout. And heading into the top of the 4th, CSI leads 5-0. Stay with us.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-one physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life. One
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now.
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex as tensions rise between the Dolphins and the Bloodhounds. Our score, CSI 5, John Jay nothing entering the 4th inning, but we spoke about it during the break, and at the time, I forgot all about the Glenister bat flip, and we came to the consensus that probably was intentional.
Yeah.
So
it certainly might have been, especially the immediate pitch after. So
that's a good point.
There's a lot of getting the worst of that one.
As that one misses down and away for ball 2. It's Ryan Osborne leading things off for the Bloodhounds in the 4th. As that's fouled straight back, and I just heard some confirmation from behind us that there was an ejection, and I think they're referring to the fan.
Oh.
Not ejection of a
yeah,
player.
That wouldn't surprise me. As he basically, he wanted to run on the field or something. That's what it looked like. He was at the edge of the netting right there, as he was screaming for at least 5 minutes continuously.
Well, I'm not sure where he thought he was going, as we have many staff members down there in that area. I don't know what he thought he could accomplish by running out toward the field, but much like at a Major League ballpark, it is not acceptable to run onto the field here at the CSI Baseball Complex, and fans doing so will be escorted from the premises as that misses for ball 4, and Ryan Osborne is on with a leadoff walk.
Yeah, anything but a leadoff walk there if you're Tom Musso. So he'll have to bounce back, try to get something on the ground here.
William De La Cruz, the batter. And Bobby, how much do you think that the incident, we'll call it, that occurred in the last half inning could fire up John Jay? I'm sure something like that could affect your dugout had it gone the other way.
Yeah, I'm sure it can. I'm sure it will. And it could be interesting next time Glenn comes up. But I don't think so, but we'll see.
I forgot all about the bat flip, putting that into consideration. Obviously, Lozada was hit on purpose, and if not, then that's a major coincidence to say the least.
Yeah.
But looking at that pitch, I still didn't think it came in very fast. If it was a fastball, it was not the hardest pitch I've seen. Maybe there was some reservation on the part of Hirschfield, which could have been the case. Not everyone is eager to hit a batter when asked. But I won't speculate any further than that, as the Dolphins will confer around the mound. Mike Morrow wants a word with Tom Musso, and it's a brief talking to as the infield will disperse back to their positions.
And he's quickly behind here again, 2-0.
Well, the Dolphins certainly don't want to open the door for a Bloodhounds comeback, and they got a complete game effort from Christian Capion last night. Could be a lot to ask. I mentioned it last night as well. It's a lot to ask for 2 complete games back-to-back in CUNYAC tournament play, but Tom Musso was rolling through the first 3 innings, so it is possible. Faced 4 batters in the first, 3 in the second, and 4 in the third. Walked the first man to face him here in the 4th. He's behind 2-1, and the runner's picked off first base. Hung up between first and second is Osborne, and the Dolphins put the tag on him as the umpire signals out. And Osborne got caught leaning the wrong way and leading way too far off of first base.
And Tommy Musso's fired up after that. And rightfully so. They caught him as he was certainly going on that one. So a nice job there by Tom Musso and Jet Navertny.
Well, Musso has already shown he has a lethal pickoff move. Dolphins actually won a game on a Musso pickoff not too long ago.
He certainly does have a quick move for a righty. I will say that.
I don't recall which doubleheader that was, but it was game 1. I think it was Baruch.
I think it was Baruch.
I think it was Baruch. So the call at second base.
It was questionable.
A bit questionable.
Yeah.
But
when we replayed it, of course.
Yeah, we replayed it several times, and it didn't take several replays, but we were trying to confirm as that swung on and missed by De La Cruz for strike 3, and quickly there are 2 away.
So Musso dealing here in the top half of the 4th.
I'll have a pitch count on Musso in just a moment, as Brian Garcia will be the batter. Garcia 0 for 1. The first pitch to Garcia misses outside. Here's the 1-0, and that's in for a called strike. Pitch count for Tom Musso entering this at bat at 70, so I don't think there's any way that he's able to give the Dolphins 9 innings at this point. Unless, of course, they're willing to have him top the pitch count we saw earlier.
I don't think we're ever going to see that. As
145?
I think it was 148.
148?
Which is...
I was looking for my line from last game. There it is. It was Brandon Teichman, and it was indeed 148 pitches. And that swung on and missed for strike 3, so a pair of strikeouts in the inning for Tom Musso. That's 5 punch-outs in the last 2 innings for the Dolphins starting pitcher, and CSI maintains a 5-run lead heading into the bottom half of the 4th. Our score, Dolphins 5, Bloodhounds nothing. CSI comes to bat in the bottom of the 4th when we come back.
No one ever won a race because it was their turn. And guzzling the right sports drink never won all 3 sets. You can't talk your way through a tournament, and luck doesn't last. Real champions know that it takes more to do more, because wanting it just isn't good enough. You've got to be smarter, faster, tougher. After all, if championships were easy, everybody would have one. City University of New York Athletic Conference. Learn, play, succeed.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke fast.
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons.
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins lead the Bloodhounds 5-0. Top of the order due up for the College of Staten Island. Wilson, DeMarco, and Becker set to bat for the Dolphins in the bottom half of the 4th inning. CSI leading 5-0.
Leading off for Staten Island, the center fielder, number 1, Jordan Wilson.
Jordan Wilson will be the batter. Wilson has reached base in both of his plate appearances, tripled and scored in the first. Walked and advanced to second on a wild pitch. 1 inning later as he flies out to left field here for the first out of the inning.
So although an out, Wilson really swinging the bat well here. And that's going to be huge for the Dolphins.
That will bring up Anthony DeMarco. I think a couple of wasps just went down. I hear that raid spray behind us down the hall as DeMarco hits from a mile high out into left field. Meyer gets underneath it and makes the catch for the second out. Pair of F7s.
So exactly what you want if you're Baruch. Want to have a quick inning.
Both coming on the first pitch of the first 2 at-bats of this inning. Wilson and DeMarco both retired quickly. 2 away for Sean Becker. And the first pitch to Becker misses outside for ball 1. Hunter and CSI underway from the CSI softball complex, or at the very least about to get underway, as the lineups have been input into the live stats system, so looks like they're about to get going. Both teams winners earlier in the day. As that is swung on and missed by Becker. Count on Sean, 2 balls and 1 strike. So if I have it correct, Baruch has seen their season come to an end in both baseball and softball today, as Baruch lost to CSI and then later lost to Hunter. If I have that right, I'll have to double check that. Make that Lehman, as that's fouled back. So Baruch losing to CSI and Lehman. And I believe Lehman faces the loser of Hunter and CSI tomorrow, but I'll have to double check on that. Hard to follow without the breakdown in front of me, as Becker flies one out to shallow right field, and coming in to make the catch is Ryan Osborne for the third out. So the Dolphins go down 1-2-3 for the first time in this game, but CSI still leads 5-0 heading into the fifth. Bloodhounds come to bat when we return.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Mom.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. Here at Tim Hortons.
And we're back from the CSI baseball complex. I have some clarification regarding softball. In game number 1 of the day, the Dolphins defeated Baruch 8-0. Hunter then defeated Lehman, followed by Lehman over Baruch in the third game of the day, and now Hunter and CSI is game number 4. So Baruch, with a pair of losses over at softball, sees their season come to an end there. Bearcats also saw their season end here on the baseball diamond earlier today at the hands of the Lions. So Finlandia stays alive in the CUNYAC tournament. Very interesting development there. And they looked good in their victory as well. CJ Meyer will be the batter for the Bloodhounds, leading off the 5th inning, and he takes inside. Meyer 0 for 1 in this game. I thought for sure there was no way softball was in their third game right now. As I scroll through the CSI Dolphins Twitter feed, you can follow the latest developments from softball there, as well as on CSI Sportsnet. If you're on the go, do not stream and drive.
Good point, Joe. Good point.
Trust me, it's not worth it. We'll be here when you get home. Here comes the 2-0 as that's in for a called strike 1. And probably long after you get home if you're on your way back now.
Yeah.
Maybe even long after you go to sleep, depending on where you need to be tomorrow. As that's it softly on the ground to short. Navertney plays it on a hop, and poor throw, skips past Muzio, and backed up nicely by Sean Becker, who charged up the first baseline to back that ball up. Luckily, it bounced toward Muzio, so if Becker wasn't there, I don't think the runner Meyer could have advanced, but as it stands, that will be the first Dolphins error of the game.
And Meyer running well down the first base line. So Jet had to rush a little bit. But that'll go down as an E6.
Batter is Philip Belomo, and he looks at a pitch down in the dirt for ball 1. Belomo 0 for 1 in this game as well. The only base hit of the game belongs to Ryan Osborne, who's actually reached twice. Singled and walked. Other than that, only a hit batsman. And the E6 on that last play. Those are the base runners allowed by Tom Musso. Musso again behind in the count, 2-0, and that's been a recurring theme over the last couple of innings. And he finds the zone with that pitch, which runs the count to 2-1. As the sun begins to shine over the CSI baseball complex, it's been a largely overcast day to this point. There's a swing and a miss by Belomo for strike 2. Two balls and 2 strikes the count. And that's it on the hands. Looked like Belomo tried to stop his swing and then realized he had to go around in a defensive fashion and just got a piece to foul that one away. Here comes another 2-2 pitch, and that's up and in for ball 3. All of a sudden, Tom Musso really laboring out there on the mound.
And you're right, Joe. He's going to have to come right at him right now.
First 3 innings went very well for him as that sails up and in for ball 4. Bloodhounds have the first 2 men on in the top of the 5th. Moving further toward the bottom of the order, it will be the catcher, Robert Monsino, coming to bat.
13, Robert Montino.
Monsino 0 for 1 in this game. As that's popped up foul. Is he squaring up to bunt there, Bobby?
Yes.
Yeah, I was checking the roster in our program. He's been announced into the game as Robert Montino twice, and I was just double checking to make sure that we have the right spelling in front of us.
We have Monsino, correct?
Yeah, I'm double checking. No, Monsino in the program as well, so not sure I've ever heard a C pronounced as a T before. Either way, the count 0-1 as he is squaring up to bunt once again and takes up and away. One ball and 1 strike the count. Still nobody out in the Bloodhounds' half of the 5th inning. Robert Monsino looking to sacrifice himself. And instead, on 1-1, will swing away and comes up empty for strike 2.
Yeah, a little surprising there. They called the bunt off, as that would have been a nice pitch to bunt.
That runs the count to 1-2. Tom Musso now in the driver's seat. And that's popped up foul territory and into the seats. The runner at second is C.J. Meyer. He reached on an error. Philip Belomo drew a walk. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count on Monsino. And that's outside. The count is even at 2 now. Here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that's fouled straight back. So Monsino continuing to stay alive in this at-bat.
Yeah, certainly strung a good at-bat here against Tommy Musso.
He's continuing to battle. Here comes another 2-2 pitch, and that's inside as the runner is caught halfway between first and second. The lead runner, Meyer, didn't think to advance, and I think he was wise to stay put as that ball didn't get very far away from Sean Becker. And Philip Belomo nearly made a costly mistake on the base paths there. He was moving with a full head of steam over to second base. Count now full on Monsino. We'll see if the Bloodhounds send the runners. They do not. And that misses up and away for ball 4, and that draws some noise from the Bloodhounds dugout. Bases are now loaded, still nobody out. And Jarrell Diaz, the 9th-place hitter, will be the batter.
Yeah, Joe, so we talked about it prior to the start of the game. As Tom Musso has looked really sharp here today. But those walks coming intact here.
The pitch count has started to rise for Musso in this game. It's been a tough go of it for him in this inning. We don't have an inning-by-inning pitch count, but I feel like he had to battle in the 4th as well, though he did face the minimum in that inning. And the first pitch to Jarrell Diaz is swung on and missed. That was a bid to clear the bases by Diaz. He's behind 0-1. And that's up and away, evening the count at 1. As Finlandia is making an appearance behind home plate, finding their seats as they await their next opponent, the loser of this game between the Dolphins and the Bloodhounds. As that's hit well out to right field, this has a chance. Looking up is Miola, and that ball is gone. Jarrell Diaz with a grand slam off of Tom Musso, and just like that, we have a 1-run game. CSI leads John Jay 5-4.
Well, he definitely got all of that one, as I don't ever recall seeing a ball hit that well to right center here at the CSI Baseball Complex, and he certainly got all of that one, and we have a ball game.
What a shot by Diaz.
That was some shot.
That's the second, no doubt about it, home run in this game. First, Glenn Glenister with a 3-run homer to left, and now Jarrell Diaz with a grand slam to straightaway right field, and he got a hold of that one. That one was at least 30 or 40 feet over the wall. That one almost approaching the concrete pathway out there by the dorms. What a shot by Diaz, and that will spell the end for Tom Musso. So as the Dolphins make a pitching change, we'll step aside and take a break. When we come back, still nobody out in the top half of the 5th inning. Bloodhounds now within a run of the Dolphins here on CSI Sportsnet, exclusively at CSIDolphins.com.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed all. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, don't...
New pitcher for the Dolphins is Juan Rodriguez, coming on in relief of Tom Musso. Before I give you the line on Musso, I have the numbers on Juan Rodriguez. Comes in having appeared in 8 games, including 5 starts. Doesn't have a victory on the season. Rodriguez 0-4, though he has been deserving of a victory in at least one of his starts that we covered. Just didn't get the run support. I believe that was against the Merchant Marine Academy. Rodriguez has pitched to a 5.34 ERA and in 32 innings has allowed 42 hits, 23 runs, 19 of those earned. He's walked 11 and struck out 30. 130 opposing batters, hitting at .323 against him. He promptly falls behind in the count 2-0 against Steven Catuño, and Catuño swings and misses at the 2-0 pitch for strike 1.
And I've seen about, I think, 1 or 2 home runs go that way over the last 3 years. And that's certainly being the most well-hit ball, we'll say, as that was a no-doubter.
I think I saw Frank Muzio hit one down the line a year or 2 ago, and that's the only time I can recall seeing a home run hit to right field. I don't think I've ever seen one hit to center. Not that I can recall, and I'm not sure I've seen one come close.
I believe 3 years ago. So, my sophomore year, Eli Rodriguez, he played shortstop for us. He was a righty, too. He hit one to right center. So that shows you how much power he had as a righty. But, I mean, that last one, certainly he got all of that.
Count runs full now on Steven Coutinho.
And this is a big at bat here for Juan Rodriguez and the rest of this Dolphins team. We got to get this guy.
Well, the Dolphins have now spent Tom Musso. He had to be up around 100 pitches as Coutinho draws a walk. And Bobby, things aren't looking good for this Dolphins team. It appears to be unraveling for them. They still have the lead, but it has been a mess of an inning so far for CSI.
Yeah, they do still have the lead, but this is exactly what you would call a momentum shifter, as all momentum has been going John Jay's way.
Not sure if you recall, but without looking at the scorecard, do you remember how this inning got started? Goes back to what we've said time and time again. E6.
Right.
Poor throw over to first base.
And then 2 walks.
And then 2 walks. It comes down to strike throwing and making the routine plays look routine, as that's bunted by Alexis Martinez. Throw to first on target, and thinking about third was Coutinho, but he gets back, and the tying run now in scoring position.
And the crowds here are certainly getting into it as well.
It's been an exciting game. And
yeah, we certainly have a ball game on our hands.
My allergies have subsided right on time. So
hopefully you didn't just jinx yourself, Joe.
It seems to go at the time of day, and it may just be completely random, but whatever part of it is in my head, I usually feel better in the later hours of the day. So hopefully that trend continues, and hopefully for the Dolphins, they can break this trend being set right now by the Bloodhounds. They've been seeing a lot of pitchers have drawn 3 walks in this inning, and with 1 big swing, they've pulled to within a run. The tying run is in scoring position for Ryan Osborne. Osborne, one of the leading hitters on this John Jay Ball Club. And he takes a big swing and misses the 1-0 pitch, evening the count at 1. And Osborne had the lead on his mind right there. Rodriguez comes set. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and Osborne chases upstairs as the Dolphins faithful really getting into it. Some fans of Juan Rodriguez in front of us as well. Long look over to second from Rodriguez. Here's the 1-2, and that's it out to center. Wilson broke it initially, and it is over his head. Another bad break on a ball by an outfielder here at the CSI Baseball Complex. And that will tie this game as the runner's now coming home. And the Dolphins allow the runner to score on an inside the park home run. And that may go down as an error, not paying attention. I'm not sure how you rule that an error. If it's an error by failing to make the throw, Bobby, I can see the look of disbelief on your face. The runner never stopped, and Ryan Osborne comes all the way around to score the go-ahead run. An unbelievable turn of events here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, Joe, I almost don't know what to say after that. I don't think I've ever seen that, as he was just about getting to third when the ball reached the infield, and nobody knew that he didn't stop, and he kept coming home. And, man, I really don't think I've ever seen that. As you said, Jordan Wilson coming in on that.
Well,
that's a tough break for Juan.
No error by omission on the play, and that's inside the park home run. Of course, the run shouldn't have scored if the Dolphins locked in on the play in the field. They simply were not. And coming all the way around is Ryan Osborne. So the Bloodhounds have taken the lead with a 6 spot in the top of the 6th. And they have Danny Wynn on the mound. Don't forget, Wynn came on. And this season, I believe he's been their best pitcher. As it looks like William De La Cruz, the batter, has rolled up the sleeves.
I just can't believe you just came home on that.
Well, I was lost for words for a few moments there. You were speechless. But I gave you time to collect yourself. And
I don't remember ever seeing that.
looks like you needed it.
As I was completely shocked that he was still running full speed, but no one even picked up on it.
No, I'm surprised I saw it, to be honest with you. There's a swing and a miss by De La Cruz, which evens the count at 2-2. And what a game this has been, and we're not even halfway through yet. We're still 2 outs away from the halfway point in this game. Two balls and 2 strikes the count on William De La Cruz. And that's hit sharply on the ground, up the middle for a base hit. And John Jay continues to pile it on. And Bobby, I think we're at that point where it's not a stretch to say they were energized by that incident back in the 4th inning. And they've really turned it on here in the 5th.
Certainly have. They're putting up a 6 spot in the top of the 5th. So it came into this inning down 5-0. They are now leading 6-5. And what a turn of events.
Well, they've now batted around. I should say that incident back in the 3rd inning. As that's through the hole on the right side for another Bloodhounds base hit. Going first to third will be De La Cruz, and he slides in safely. Not sure he needed to. As the throw was cut off, and runners now on the corners, still 1 out. John Jay has batted around here in the 5th and have shown no signs of slowing down. The only out in this inning recorded on a sacrifice bunt.
Yeah, and luckily enough for that bunt, as there's still only 1 out. And we'll see if, I think Chris Kornbach will get busy in the bullpen for the Dolphins.
Looks that way,
and he might need to hurry up a little bit.
Rodriguez hasn't looked sharp in relief. In his defense, I think he had to get ready a bit quickly out there.
Right.
Things really fell apart for Tom Musso in a hurry. Of course, the grand slam brought some quick damage. And that was it for Tom Musso, as Becker blocks that 0-1 pitch, and that will force De La Cruz to hold at third base. One ball and 1 strike to count. And that's off the outside corner for ball 2. Well, just about everything has gone wrong for the Dolphins in this inning. An error to get things started. A pair of walks following up that error. Then a grand slam off the bat of Jarrell Diaz. You think maybe the grand slam is a rally killer. That was not the case here. As the 2-1 pitch is in for a called strike 2. Sometimes home runs are considered rally killers, but the Bloodhounds certainly willing to take it, as that brought them to within a run. And then immediately after that, another walk issued, a sacrifice bunt, and then a defensive lapse on an inside the park home run.
And looking for more here.
As that skied out to right field, Miola coming in, moving toward the right field line. It falls for a base hit. And they do get the force play at second, so scratch that base hit. As I'm not sure where the runner was between first and second base, but somehow he's thrown out. He needed a bigger lead than he had, obviously.
Yeah, you got to be halfway with that, especially with the sun and Miola charging in. Clearly, obviously, it wasn't definite that he was going to catch it as we saw it fall. So, I mean, they take a 2-run lead, but a break even getting an out there for the Dolphins.
As that's lofted out into shallow left center field, and that one is down for a base hit. hits just keep on coming for John Jay. I'm out of room on my scorecard. CSI is just looking for a way out of this inning as they've surrendered 7 runs. I've lost count of the base hits. That last base hit off the bat of Philip Belomo. Robert Monsino, the batter now. And he fouls the first pitch off. Oh, 1-1 the count on Monsino. And he takes a called strike 2. Juan Rodriguez 1 strike away from putting an end to this nightmare of an inning, and he'll need to throw at least 1 more pitch. Bobby's disgusted with what has transpired, to say the least, and it's left him speechless. It's too bad we don't have a camera on the two of us. Some of the looks you've given me this inning have been priceless, as it has been a rough inning for the College of Staten Island. And now Monsino calls time late. That pitch will not count, as time is indeed granted. This game was really moving, and once the bottom of the 3rd inning came around, the pace of this game has come to a screeching halt, but it's been an entertaining game nonetheless as Monsino grounds one through the right side. Another Bloodhounds base hit. Throw goes to 3rd. It's not in time, and the 8th John Jay run of the inning comes home. The Bloodhounds bench is fired up, and the Dolphins just cannot escape this inning as John Jay styling and profiling, as Clyde Frazier would say, around the on-deck circle, and a lot of energy in that dugout right now.
And this is some offensive display in this inning for John Jay, as they put up an 8 spot, and there's still a runner on 3rd.
Runners on the corners for the Bloodhounds, and Dolphins just looking for a way out. They can't find it right now. Entering this inning, the Bloodhounds had 1 base hit in the game. They now have 7. 2 home runs in the inning, one of the inside the park variety, the other a grand slam. I'm not sure it gets much more demoralizing than that.
And is this is Diaz, right, with the grand slam?
This is Jarrell Diaz who hit that grand slam. And he rips a base hit into right field. He was right on that pitch, and I think that's the end of the line for Juan Rodriguez. If I had to bet, we'll see.
It almost has to be.
Well, Chris Karnbach is halfway in from the bullpen. Steven Coutinho will be the batter, and Mike Morrow is on the top step of the dugout, perhaps contemplating a change. And all of a sudden, John Jay has a chance to break this game open with an extra base hit. And I'm not sure we've ever seen 9 runs scored in an inning here at the CSI Baseball Complex. And it's hard for me to remember 3 years of coverage.
Even, I don't think I do either. I really don't.
It has been an unbelievable turn of events here in the 5th inning. The John Jay dugout is pumped, and
as they should be.
No noise at all coming from the Dolphins dugout.
And Jarrell Diaz already 5 RBIs in this game.
Well, the good news for the Dolphins is they entered this inning with a 5-run lead. That's about the only good news for CSI right now. It's back to the top of the order once again. Steven Coutinho, the batter. He takes a called strike 2, and once again, Juan Rodriguez is 1 strike away from putting this inning to a close. one skips into the glove of Sean Becker. That runs the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I mean, if you left before this inning,
shame on you,
and came back and saw that it was 5-0. Now it's 9-5. You must be thinking, what on earth happened?
Well, we'll have a full recap of this inning when we come back. We'll come back a little bit early and recount what just transpired. If you left the room, I mean, we're around dinner time now. If you left the room for a meal and came back, you missed quite a bit. Here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that's fouled straight back, and Rodriguez just can't put anyone away right now. Our guest analyst Brian Wong from down the hall. It has been wild indeed.
He said it.
It has been wild indeed. Wild and bizarre. Definitely fair adjectives to use describing this one, as the count is now full and Juan Rodriguez just doesn't have it. And again, he was forced to get warm very quickly in the bullpen, and you have to think that may be playing a role in his struggles. But
yeah, and throughout all this, it would have been nice to see one of the infielders go talk to him at least, you know, try to settle him down, just to make him feel like, you know, he's not
out there on an island alone.
Yeah, exactly.
The count is full on Coutinho, and that one's lofted out to left field. Could be trouble along the line, but Glenn is still able to get there and make the catch. And this nightmare of a 5th inning for the Dolphins finally comes to a close. But if you're a fan of the John Jay College Bloodhounds, it was a much more exciting inning for you. Your team now leads 9-5. Bloodhounds over the Dolphins entering the bottom half of the 5th. CSI will look to respond when we come back.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at It's On.
Mom!
Well, after that very long top half of the 5th, Bobby and I opted for an extended break as we had some food delivered up to the booth, so we need to eat too. As I mentioned before, if you left for a meal and came back, you missed quite a bit in the top half of the 5th. Our score 9-5 now as Nick Miola lines one to straightaway left field, and making the grab out there is C.J. Meyer for the first out. Well, I did promise a recap of that previous half inning. I will do my
The
best.
first baseman, number 9, Frank Muzio.
As Frank Muzio will be the batter. I'll get to that in just a moment as I'm rejoined by Bobby, fresh off yet another slice of pizza.
And good thing for that delivery.
Right on time. As Muzio looks to call it strike one, but I'll run through that inning as quickly as I can. It all started with an error at shortstop by Jet Navertney, followed by a pair of walks and then a grand slam by Jarrell Diaz. So the bases were clear. 4 runs were home. Back to the top of the order for John Jay. Steven Coutinho walked and advanced to second on a sacrifice bunt, and then Ryan Osborne had a 2-run inside the park home run. At that point, it was 6-0. And then from there, William De La Cruz singled, Brian Garcia singled, C.J. Meyer hit into a fielder's choice as Frank Muzio picks up a 1-out base hit. So they were 2 away following the Meyer fielder's choice in the previous half inning, and then 3 straight base hits by Philip Belomo, Robert Monsino, and Jarrell Diaz for finally back to the top of the order again, and Steven Coutinho was retired by Juan Rodriguez to bring the top half of the 5th to a close. The man responsible for 3 of the Dolphins' runs on 1 swing, Glenn Glenister, comes to the plate. And he hits one hard toward the middle, and it's played on the backhand by Coutinho, and he decided to flip over to short late, and the turn over to first is in time for the double play. So very quickly, the bottom half of the 5th comes to a close. A big inning on the mound for Danny Wynn. He faces the minimum. Dolphins go down quickly, and our score remains 9-5 heading into the 6th inning from the CSI Baseball Complex on CUNY Championship Weekend.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go!
Martinez.
We're back here in the top of the 6th.
It's been a long day. We're both hungry, and I took an extended break to finish my pizza. As we come back, Dolphins still trailing 9-5, and this game really turned around in the 5th. Juan Rodriguez back to the mound for the 6th. As that's hit well out to right center field. This time Wilson gets a good read on it, and he makes the catch for the first out.
All right, so good job there by Juan. Getting that first out. And looking, of course, looking to have a very quick inning here.
Well, I'm getting some text messages now. More of my friends have uncovered the footage from our student faculty staff softball game of one of the worst slides of the year into home plate by yours truly. It was not a good look. I guess you'll get a look at it.
I'm going to have to see that, yeah.
Yeah, it'll replay. It's not good. It is not a good look. Not proud of that slide. That's ripped deep into left field and into the corner for an extra base hit. Rounding first and heading to second is Ryan Osborne. He is in standing with a 1-out double.
Flying around those bases, though.
Yeah.
What jersey is that?
I was decisive, and I actually got some comments on that jersey and some praise. A New York Mets basketball jersey.
I've seen worse slides.
Yeah.
And you look fast doing it, so we'll take the positives.
I looked like I knew how to run the bases at least.
Exactly.
I cut those corners.
We'll take those bases. We'll take the positives with that.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been on the base paths pushing to score a run, and it showed there, at least on the slide. Committed the cardinal sin of going head first as well. But if you're going to go out in style. As that's bunted over to third, and DeMarco unable to scoop it up as that hits off the heel of his glove, and it's backed up by Jet Navertny. And I think that will go down. It will, as the second Dolphins error, and the cleanup hitter, William De La Cruz, laying down the bunt, and he's on first. Brian Garcia is the batter. Garcia singled in the 5th inning, and really, who didn't? As he takes upstairs for ball 1, and looks like Terrence Mulligan is getting warm in the Dolphins bullpen, and if the Dolphins have to go through a lot of pitchers just to get out of this game, that would really hurt them moving forward, especially if they have to play again. Dolphins very well could be taking the field yet again 30 minutes following the conclusion of this game against Finlandia. And you have to think that plays to the advantage of the Lions, who would be well rested coming off their win earlier in the day.
Yeah, they certainly might have to, as that's what we had to do last year. I think our first game we lost to John Jay.
And the 2-0 pitch misses down and in, and once again, Juan Rodriguez behind in the count.
And then go ahead.
I was going to say, he's had several 2-strike counts and able to put hitters away, and now he's behind 3-0.
As we had to beat, referring back to my last comment, we had to beat Baruch back-to-back in the final day of the 3-day tournament, which we did.
There's another walk issued by Dolphins pitching. 2 in the last inning, make that 3 in the previous inning, now 1 here in the 7th. Oh, the 6th, as my scorecard is just a mess.
Number 9, C.J. Meyer.
I struck through the remaining spots in the 6th, but then realized that I had to use 2 innings worth of space for the 5th. So I'll try and correct that, but about to run out of space again. As it looks like Juan Rodriguez will stay in this game. Dolphins infield, and Sean Becker conferring with Rodriguez on the mound. I think, is that Pat Daddio out there, Bobby, having a word with his pitcher?
Yes, it is.
The Dolphins pitching coach joining the conversation as well, and they'll break the huddle. Bases loaded for the Bloodhounds once again, and nowhere to put C.J. Meyer.
So pitching coach Pat Daddio trying to calm down Juan a little bit and give some time for Terrence Mulligan in the bullpen, as I believe that's what's happening right now. I think he'll be coming in.
Yeah, they were buying time for Mulligan with the mound visits, so mound visits actually are limited in Major League Baseball these days.
They are?
They have a count up on the scoreboard. They had a challenge count up on the scoreboard as well. That goes back to last year, but now also a limit on the number of mound visits that a team can conduct in a game. So with the pitching change, we'll step aside. I'll finish my latest slice of pizza. And when we come back, the Dolphins will face a bases-loaded jam. Terrence Mulligan coming on to pitch for the College of Staten Island, with the Dolphins trailing John Jay 9-5 in the top half of the 6th inning.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape.
C.J. Meyer is the batter for John Jay. Bases still loaded with Bloodhounds. Dolphins bring the infield in all the way around as Meyer fouls back the first pitch. Score update from softball. Dolphins appear well on their way to a CUNYAC championship down there as they have a commanding 5-0 lead over Hunter. Of course, this is not the deciding game as Meyer swings and misses for strike 2, but the Dolphins put themselves in a very advantageous position with a win over the Hawks if they hold on, and up 5-0 in the second. You have to like their chances. That one blocked by Becker. It trickles away a short distance, but not far enough for the runner on third to think about it. One ball and 2 strikes the count. That's popped up in foul territory near the Bloodhounds bullpen. The umpire was running straight toward the ball.
Looked like he wanted to catch it.
Looked that way, and if he just stayed put, Frank Muzio had all the space he needed, but the umpire was stride for stride with him down the right field line. No chance for Muzio on that ball regardless. And
showing off those wheels.
Count remains 1-2. Runner on third is Ryan Osborne. William De La Cruz on second. Brian Garcia stands on first as that's chopped toward the middle of the infield. Navertney fields it cleanly, throws home, and a bad throw allows the run to score from third. Jet Navertney had plenty of time to make a good throw there, and he skipped it into Sean Becker. And things have gone from bad to worse for the Dolphins. They surrender 9 runs in the top of the 5th, and the top of the 6th isn't off to a much better start.
Yeah, it certainly has gone from bad to worse for the CSI Dolphins. Looked like Jet short on that a little bit because he did have time. But Mulligan doing his job, getting a ground ball. And he'll look to do the same right here or a strikeout.
That's Navertney's second error. Philip Belomo is the batter. Belomo had a base hit in the previous inning. John Jay now has the Dolphins doubled up at 10-5, and following the bottom of the third, we never could have envisioned this. Tom Musso was rolling. Tempers flared in the bottom half of the third. Clearly that ignited John Jay and really sparked an offensive explosion. Just 1 inning later, as that's hit softly on the ground to a middle infielder, and Anthony Lozada's throw to home is perfect. And they get the lead runner trying to score. That was De La Cruz for the second out.
So Mulligan coming in here in relief, certainly doing his job, getting 2 weak ground balls.
Well, Mulligan should be out of it. And what a job by Terrence Mulligan getting 2 softly hit ground balls on the infield. The infield brought all the way in those last 2 at-bats. Mulligan induces 2 softly hit grounders as that's popped up in foul territory and off the top of the Dolphins dugout. Robert Monsino also had a base hit in the previous inning. Drew a walk as well. Several Bloodhounds with 2 at-bats in the previous inning. As Monsino rolls over 1 foul. He's now in a 2-strike hole. 0-2 the count on Robert Monsino. Terrence Mulligan, one strike away from escaping trouble as Monsino fouls one down the left field line. Of course, this jam not of Mulligan's creation. Juan Rodriguez came on in relief of Tom Musso and really struggled. Musso was pulled after surrendering a grand slam on his 96th pitch of the game. In 4 innings, he surrendered 4 runs, 3 of which were earned on a pair of base hits. He walked 3 and struck out 5. Here's the 0-2 once again, and that's it well out to deep right center. Wilson ranging back, gets underneath it, and makes the catch for the final out. So Robert Monsino makes a home run bid out toward right center field, comes up just short as Jordan Wilson records the putout for the final out in the top of the 6th. The Bloodhounds settle for only a single run, and heading into the bottom half of inning number 6, Dolphins trail 10-5. More CUNYAC Championship Baseball when we come back.
We thank you.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim
listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun?
Bottom of the 6th inning about to get underway from the CSI Baseball Complex.
Number 11, Anthony Lozada.
And Anthony Lozada will be the batter. Lozada 0 for 1 was hit by a pitch in his second at bat. And he rolls over that one foul, evening the count at 1. That last inning for the Dolphins came to a close so quickly that I had nothing recorded on my scorecard following the action as Lozada rolls one over to third. Throw right on the money from Martinez for the first out.
The designated hitter, number 32.
The Bloodhounds clearly displaying a confidence that they simply were not showing early in this game, and everything seemed to turn in the bottom half of the third. Dolphins leading 5-0. They hit Anthony Lozada with a pitch. We debated whether or not that was intentional. Came to the conclusion it probably was. I had initially forgotten about the Glenister bat flip, but we think that's what initiated the hit batsman. And as we said before, Anthony Lozada paid the price. Lozada just retired for the first out in this inning, and that brings up John Pomerico. Fouls that pitch back, evening the count at 1. Pomerico doubled back in the second, came around to score the second CSI run. Scored on an RBI single off the bat of the man on deck, Jet Navertny. He continues his hot hitting late into this season and now, of course, in postseason play. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that's up and away. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bottom of the 3rd over at softball. Dolphins still leading the Hawks of Hunter College 5-0 as Pomarico goes down swinging. And I think that's the first strikeout for Danny Wynn.
The shortstop, number 2, Jet Navarney.
Navarney 1 for 2, singled homer run back in the 2nd. And that was Danny Wynn's 2nd punch out as Navarney takes outside for ball 1.
And Navarney trying to get something going here for the Dolphins with 2 outs, as their offense has pretty much been stagnant after that meltdown of an inning.
It seems as if that 9 spot really demoralized this team, and I think all it might take is a pair of base hits back-to-back or a base runner on, or just something to get them going, as the last base runner they had was on a Frank Muzio single. He was quickly erased, as in 1 or 2 pitches later. That's hit hard on the ground to short by Navarney, backhanded by Philip Belomo, and his throw is just in time to get Navarney at first base. For the final out of the inning, Dolphins once again go down 1-2-3. Bloodhounds have faced the minimum in the last 3 innings. Our score heading into the 7th, John Jay 10, College of Staten Island 5. More CUNYAC Championship Baseball when we come back.
Mom.
Dear.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Mom.
Dear.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care.
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons.
Terrence Mulligan back to the mound for the College of Staten Island in the top of the 7th inning. His team trailing John Jay 10-5, but Mulligan came on and did his job in the previous inning. He induced a couple of slow-rolling ground balls on the infield, the first of which resulted in an error by Jet Navarney on the throw home. Dolphins had the lead runner dead to rights at the plate. Navarney's throw skipped into Sean Becker, who couldn't scoop it out of the dirt. And very next batter, Philip Belomo, also hit one softly on the ground. This time, Anthony Lozada made the throw home on target, and then Terrence Mulligan able to get a fly ball off the bat of Robert Monsino to bring the inning to a close. He inherited a big-time jam from Juan Rodriguez, who left the bases loaded.
And Jarrell Diaz will step into the box for the Bloodhounds, who's had a pretty decent day, I would say, Joe.
I would have to agree with you there, Bobby. Diaz with a grand slam home run, and in that same inning had a second base hit as well. Diaz with 5 runs batted in, as you mentioned before, looking to get on base to lead things off for the Bloodhounds here in the 7th. You know the character of this team, this Dolphins team, very well, Bobby, as that's at a mile high into shallow left field. And Navarney going back on it, Glenister coming in on it, it falls in between them, and that's a 2-base error. Well,
yeah, once you saw him going back a little bit, you knew it was going to be trouble. And Jet's usually pretty good with those routine pop-ups. So the second he was starting to backpedal, you knew it was going to be trouble.
It's been a game to forget for Jet Navarney in the field. That's his 3rd error. Stephen Coutinho will be the batter. But going back to what I was about to say, you know the character of this team very well, and I've watched them play now 3 years. A lot of the same players still on this team, at least from last year, and they're never out of a game. They always have a comeback in them. We've seen them time and time again play from behind and do so well. So this game's certainly not over yet, but of course it would be of great benefit to them to keep John Jay off the scoreboard the rest of the way.
And they certainly do make some noise when they're down a big deficit, so we'll see. It'll be tough here, down 5, though.
As that one's lofted over the outstretched glove of Anthony DeMarco and into left field for a base hit. Coming around third to score is Jarrell Diaz, and it's an RBI double for Steven Coutinho, and the Bloodhounds lead is now 6. Our score, John Jay 11 and CSI 5. And it has gone eerily silent, not only here in the press box, but at the CSI baseball complexes. I don't think you can believe what you're seeing. The fans can't believe what they have seen transpire over the last 3 innings. John Jay has not taken their foot off the gas. Their lead now 6. They trailed 5-0 in this game, entering the 5th inning, and they've completely turned this game around and deserve a lot of credit for doing so. Things got off to an awful start for the Bloodhounds, but they persisted and have hit Dolphins pitching incredibly hard.
Yeah, they certainly do deserve some credit. As we take a look up, and they did put a 9 spot up. Their bats certainly came alive, stringing, I believe, seemed like 5 or 6 hits in a row at one point.
Yeah, down the hall they said 7.
Okay, so 7.
I have to
which
take
is
a
a
look.
lot of hits in a row.
I don't know if I have 7 hits in a row anywhere on my scorecard, as that's Scott out to right field. Miola makes the catch, trying to advance to third is Coutinho, and he slides in safely. Good base running by Steven Coutinho to take the extra base. Close play over at third, but Coutinho clearly beat the throw. 2 away now for Ryan Osborne. Make that. Hey, Ryan Osborne. Got it. This is Ryan Osborne. That's what happens when your scorecard looks the way it does over the last 3 innings. Osborne with 3 hits in this game has been on base in all 4 of his at-bats. Singled in the first, walked in the 4th. Had the play that I won't mention again in the 5th, because I know it brings disgust to Bobby, and I wouldn't want to do that to him. We have another game and a half in this booth together. I don't want him calling the game disgusting. And then in that same inning as the unspeakable play, he doubled.
Yeah, certainly a strange play that we saw.
I think that's the first home run of that variety that I've seen. Of course, an inside the park home run is, for those who may have missed it, that's the play I'm referring to.
And yes, technically it is. It does go down as an inside the park home run, but the Dolphins just fell asleep, and he just kept on running. That was it.
Yep, not sure there is such thing as an error by omission, and that's certainly what happened, as Mulligan lost his footing on the mound, and he's behind in the count 3-1. At the very least, the Dolphins don't want to go through any more pitching in this game. This one really beginning to slip away from them, and I think I'd have to say if they don't score in the bottom of the 7th, you do not want to waste any more arms in this game, as that's hit high in the air on the infield. Navertney calls and makes the catch for the second out. Take a look at the Dolphins pitching staff, and compared to some of the other teams we've seen, not many arms on this Dolphins roster. They've used Christian Capion, they've used Terrence Mulligan, they've used Tom Musso, and they've used Juan Rodriguez. And the only other pitchers available that have pitched extended innings this season are Derek Jentz and Chris Karnbach. You can correct me, Bobby, if you see any other names on this list that you would expect to come on, but I think right now it's Jensen Karnbach who will be relied upon should the Dolphins have to play again here tonight. It's certainly looking more and more like that will be the case.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see those two, and definitely lost some wings from last year. Just to name a few: Ryan Kennedy, Josh Bernstein, Jay Fiala was huge out of the bullpen, Daniel Newman. I mean, the list goes on. So certainly lost some quality pitching out of the bullpen for head coach Mike Morrow.
And that's ripped deep into the left field corner. That will go down as an extra base hit. The Bloodhounds extend their lead to 7. And into second base standing is William De La Cruz. He now takes the turn on the muff throw, and that is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. The Dolphins have completely fallen apart in this game, and some of the miscues in the field have been egregious, to say the least. And that, another one right there. That has to go down as an error, as the throw was muffed. And that was Jet Navertney again.
And I don't blame John Jay either. At first when it's happening, it's like, wow, he's really going to go to the next base. But if they're going to keep continuing to allow it to happen, then you got to give John Jay credit. They're continuing to take those extra bags.
And the Bloodhounds certainly deserve a lot of credit. They very easily could have thrown in the towel in this game, trailing by 5 runs early, preserved
12 unanswered.
Preserved their best arm, Danny Wynn especially. And when Wynn came on, I said, you know, if he goes 5 or 6 innings the rest of the way for John Jay and they don't win this game, they lose him for their next game, certainly, and in all likelihood for the rest of the weekend. But now they're in a position where they have a 7-run lead and their best pitcher in the game. And the Dolphins haven't had an answer for Danny Wynn yet. I'll actually pull up the line on Wynn. I'm pretty sure he hasn't given up much. Nothing more than that Frank Muzio single. So Brian Garcia will go down looking at a called strike 3, but more damage done by the Bloodhounds. They've now scored in 3 straight innings and lead the Dolphins 12-5 after putting up a 2 spot in the top half of inning number 7. Bottom of the 7th when we come back here on CSI Sportsnet, exclusively at CSIDolphins.com.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Whoa, 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 can you feel the sun?
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality.
Back to the mound for Danny Wynn, who has shut down the Dolphins in his work out of the bullpen so far in this game. I just had the line for Wynn in front of me. Here it is. In 3 2/3 innings, he has allowed nothing more than that Frank Muzio single, has struck out a pair of Dolphins, and has only thrown 33 pitches. That's remarkable. And Danny Wynn has been completely shut down on the mound for John Jay in this game. I'm actually going to pull up the numbers for Wynn in his last outing against the Dolphins. That came earlier this year. As Jordan Wilson looks at ball 2.
And even if they don't come back, which is, of course, going to be tough, down 7 here in the 7th, just even to string a few hits together and gets some type of rhythm going into the next game.
Wynn's given up close to nothing in this one. As that swung on and missed, evening the count at 2. Jordan Wilson looking to get things started for the Dolphins. It's the top of the order for CSI in the bottom of the 7th. And Wilson looks at ball 3. I do have the line for Danny Wynn in his last outing against the Dolphins here, as Wilson rips one down the left field line, foul off the bullpen mound. Or at least the catcher's spot in that bullpen. Looks like both the mound and where the catcher receives the ball are elevated back there.
Yeah, I bet they are.
definitely see it from here in both bullpens. Some grass also beginning to grow out there in between the mound and the plate out there in each bullpen. Count is full on Jordan Wilson. Here's the payoff pitch. That's it sharply on the ground through the hole for a base hit, and Jordan Wilson is on to lead off the bottom of the 7th for CSI.
So good job there by Wilson. Getting something going here for the Dolphins, which they very much need with the leadoff single.
In his last outing against CSI earlier this year against John Jay, Danny Wynn in 3 2/3 innings allowed 4 base hits, 1 run. That run was unearned, and it was the game-winning run that came home on the Joe Amato walk-off hit. He only walked 1 batter and struck out 5. So it was a strong 3 2/3 innings of work for Wynn, though. The Dolphins did get 4 hits off of him. They certainly have been able to get to Wynn before. And they'll need to get to him in a big way in this game. And they're now down 7 runs and running out of time. A loss here does not end the Dolphins season, keep in mind. They will play to keep their season alive if they lose this game about 30 minutes following the conclusion of this game. Their opponent would be the Lions of Finlandia University. Players from that Lions team still gathered behind home plate watching this game as that's blocked by Robert Monsino.
Yeah, we've seen Monsino make a lot of nice plays back there for the Bloodhounds.
Said it time and time again, he has been busy behind the plate. Starting pitcher Jared Hirschfield certainly didn't do him any favors. He put so many pitches in the dirt, several feet short of home plate. It was
certainly been active back there.
It was certainly a struggle with command for Hirschfield, and when he did put pitches over, the Dolphins hit him pretty hard. Dolphins had 6 hits off of Hirschfield in under 3 innings of work. As DeMarco chased way downstairs and just got a piece. A good defensive cut by Anthony there to stay in the at-bat.
And looking at our scorecard and up at the scoreboard, 5-0 errors. So 5 for CSI and 0 for John Jay. And that, of course, is always going to be costly.
Well, 4 of them by Jet Navertney. It's been a rough day in the field for him, to say the least. As DeMarco gets under 1 out to center field, Diaz moves to his left and makes the catch for the first out. Sean Becker will be the batter.
The catcher, number 35, Sean Becker.
Becker already with a base hit in this game. That came back in the 3rd. Scored on the Glenn Glenister home run. And the first pitch to Becker skips into the glove of Monsino for ball 1. Well, we really knew this already, but softball is going to wrap up far before we do. As I have another score update, in the bottom of the 4th, it is 6-0 Dolphins over the Hawks of Hunter College. So CSI, with 2 more runs in this inning, this bottom of the 4th, could bring this game to a close early via the mercy rule. As Becker looks at the 1-1 pitch in the dirt for ball 2.
And for those of you who are tuned in, at the moment, stick around. We do have one more game here today.
Yes, we do, Bobby. Yes, we do.
As we said, it was going to be a long day of baseball.
And it's looking more and more like the Dolphins will be playing in that game. So I'm sure we'll have many of the students on campus following along. And that's popped up in the air by Sean Becker, caught over at 3rd by Alexis Martinez for the 2nd out. And it's going to be a late night. I'm not sure that we'll have many Dolphins faithful out here in the bleachers that late. I'm sure some of them have places they'd rather be on a Friday night, but...
And of course, at least we have the weather that we have today. It could be cold, which we've seen, but then again, it is May 4th, and for once, it's finally starting to get warm out.
I was a college student once, too. My Friday nights, admittedly, were not spent at the CSI Baseball Complex, though. A lot of them were spent watching baseball, just not here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Of course, I frequent Citi Field.
Yeah, your Mets have been
Don't remind me.
a little bit slumping. A little bit.
It was a tumultuous day, to say the least, for the Mets, as Nick Miola takes high for ball 2, and I'm not sure what the home plate umpire was signaling. Perhaps something on the field, or what's going on here?
I'm not sure. I think. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think Wynn said something, or made a gesture. If that's what I had to guess.
That was my assumption.
As I think he wanted that pitch, and of course, home plate umpire not agreeing with that.
A win.
But the whole infield coming in, so I'm not sure.
That's exactly what made me
yeah,
question it.
I'm not sure.
I had assumed that Wynn didn't like a call and that the umpire was gesturing to him to knock it off, and then the entire infield surrounded him, and I questioned myself. So 2-0 is the count, and that's fouled right over our heads again. As
I tried.
We've had a couple come close. No room for the ball to come into the window.
Yeah, pretty much impossible. I think.
We've been hit. Oh, you're definitely not getting one with the window open and cracked like
no
that.
Way.
Though Yoenis Cespedes did put one in a trash can.
That is true.
That's impressive.
A barely open one, right?
Barely
Only
open.
the sides are open.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, you never know.
I'm not sure anyone would have the nerve to call a shot like that. Two balls and 2 strikes to count on Nick Miola. Here's the pitch. And that is swung on and missed for strike 3. Nick Miola goes down swinging, and the Dolphins are kept off of the scoreboard once again. Dolphins have not scored since the 3rd inning. John Jay has scored in each of the last 3 innings. Our score, Bloodhounds 12, Dolphins 5. John Jay comes to bat in the top of the 8th when we return with more CUNYAC Championship Baseball here on CSI Sportsnet.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish! In your face! In your face!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex with.
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Time running out on the Dolphins. They trail by 7 runs entering the 8th inning. Our score 12-5 in favor of John Jay. And Terrence Mulligan's first pitch of the 8th inning misses up and into C.J. Meyer. Meyer hitless in 4 at-bats. Was credited with an RBI as that's popped up in foul territory. Once again, Muzio clashes with the umpire, and he makes the catch barely.
Yeah,
he was a bit off balance.
The umpire's just better off just staying put when the ball is hit over there.
I mean,
because he keeps running towards the direction of the ball. I don't think intentionally, of course, but that's just what keeps happening. He's just better off staying there.
I would have to imagine that if I'm in that spot, my first instinct is make a break towards maybe second base and get off the line, because that ball was clearly tailing in that direction, and that made it a tougher play for Muzio. I think he actually bumped into the umpire, but
I think so. Good job just to stay with that ball.
Good job by Frank staying with it to make the catch. for the first out, and that will bring up Philip Belomo. And Belomo has his second base hit of the game. This one into the right center field gap. He will take the turn and hold with a 1-out single. Dolphins have had no answers for this John Jay lineup since the 5th inning. Just about every inning, it's been a very full scorecard for the Bloodhounds, and the Dolphins have really labored through each of the last 3. Now another base runner here for the 4th consecutive inning. Robert Monsino, the batter, and that's lofted down the left field line. Hit pretty well into the left field corner and just foul. Somehow I missed it. I don't know if he's a left-handed thrower. I presume he isn't, but Robert Monsino, a left-handed hitting catcher. You don't see that too often. More so than a left-handed throwing catcher anyway.
Yeah, that is a good point. And I think he throws righty. Actually, we could check.
I think he does. Can we check
a
starting player? We can. Yes, we can. Yep, throws right.
Yeah. So missed a double by about a foot there.
0-1 the count on Monsino. Had an RBI single earlier in the game as that's taken for a called strike. Terrence Mulligan entering this at bat had thrown 31 pitches, so I think it's likely that he will finish this game for the Dolphins as that's blocked by Becker. A good read over at first base by Belomo, who took off immediately and is into second base safely.
And that's what you have to do if you're John Jay. Yes, they're up 7, but you have to continue to take these bases and take advantage.
Since Danny Wynn has entered the game for John Jay, that happened back in the 3rd inning following the Glenister home run. They've seemingly done everything right. They've made good plays in the field. They've been phenomenal on the base paths, and of course, 12 runs on 12 hits. 11 of those hits coming after Wynn entered the game. And Wynn, of course, a relief pitcher who came out of the bullpen, and not that that was the catalyst, but that's the point where this game really turned around. Well, the count should be 2-2.
Yeah, the umpire is signaling to me.
Yeah.
But listen, if I could change it, I would.
I'll go fill them in.
As Joe will run down the hole and try to get that situated. So the 2-2 from Mulligan to Monsino. And that pitch is swung on and absolutely drilled to right field as this has a chance. And it's dropped on the warning track. And a stand-up double from Monsino.
Well, I thought you were about to have your first home run call, Bobby. I was standing here over your right shoulder after re-entering the room. Didn't want to pick up my headset until that ball came down, but Monsino drills one again. This time to right field. He flew out to deep center field in his last at-bat, and he gave that one a ride, and that brings home the 13th Bloodhounds run. As I was going to attempt to call the rest of this inning standing, but the frame of the window is right in my face. That's just not going to work, so I'll take my seat again. But the Dolphins surrender another run, and it looks like they'll limp to the finish line in this game. And
I think so.
In all likelihood, we'll have to play another game tonight, a win-or-go-home situation against the Lions of Finlandia University.
I got a little ahead of myself there as my voice cracked as I thought I could have my first home run call.
Well, I will say that...
Listen, it happens.
When you make errors in speech over the microphone, they don't come through as clearly as you think. We hear ourselves right in our ears.
Right.
We hear each other very clearly, so you assume that everything you say is heard loud and clear by the listeners as well, but...
Nah, but you missed it, Joe. It was pretty, trust me, it was there.
I didn't have the headset on. It's center field camera continuing to play tricks on us as that one skips in the dirt. I don't believe softball has gone final yet. We'll be joined by our colleagues working over at softball shortly, and they'll be treated to a full 9-inning game following this one. Looks like it will be Dolphins and Lions, but still a couple of innings to go here at the CSI Baseball Complex.
And what time was that third game supposed to start for us, Joe? Do we know? I think we got rid of that paper.
6.
Supposed to start at 6. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's 7,
Well,
and it's the 8th. Yeah, that hour delay certainly didn't help our cause.
I was going to say that
to keep it friendly. It certainly didn't help.
In defensive pace of play, I was going to bring up that hour delay, but
yeah,
that one not on us.
Mm-mm.
And that's it on the ground over to second. Was out of bobbles for a moment, but able to regain control and throw out Jarrell Diaz for the second out.
The second baseman, number 21, Steven Coutinho.
Steven Coutinho will be the batter. Runner over at third is Robert Mancino. Coutinho with a base hit and RBI in this game. Is that a chant if he's from Brooklyn?
Or he's a freshman. Let's see his class. Says he's a junior. I don't know. That's questionable if that's their chant. I don't know what that means.
That's the sign of a team having a good time right there. And
just need something to chant about.
There's action in the Dolphins bullpen. As Coutinho takes just off the inside corner, even the count at 1. And Bobby, how difficult is it? You've been in the spot, of course, to drop a game like this and see your season come to within 1 loss of ending and then have to go right back out there following up a loss against a different opponent and play to keep your season alive.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we've faced some adversity the past 2 years in this tournament held here at the CSI Baseball Complex. But especially a game like that, being up 5-0, and then now looking up at the scoreboard, being down 13-5, it's definitely going to be challenging. But listen, it's nothing the head coach Mike Morrow and the rest of these players are not used to. So I'm sure they'll be ready to play in game number 2.
And I think there's a lot to be said for having been in this position before. Many of these players have been in this spot at least once before, some maybe even twice. And they will look to rebound from what appears as if it is going to be a defeat in this game against the Bloodhounds, though. John Jay did put up 9 innings. CSI trails by 8 right now, so if John Jay can do it, why can't we?
Good point.
We've seen crazier things happen, and it's been 2 days filled with some big innings. A 6 spot by Baruch on CCNY in the first inning yesterday, and a 9 spot by John Jay here in this game against the Dolphins. As that is lined into left center field for a base hit. Glenister able to cut it off. Taking the turn and heading for second is Coutinho. Throw is cut off by Navertny, and his relay not in time. Not sure they had a chance to get Coutinho anyway.
Yeah, it probably would have been safe anyway, so might as well let that one go instead of cutting it. But again, this John Jay lineup continuing to take extra bags, which is why they have a 14-5 lead.
It's been a rough game for the College of Staten Island, as we may have another deliberate delay by the Dolphins to make a pitching change. We'll see, but John Jay has been all over CSI pitching since the 5th inning, and the Dolphins didn't light it up with their pitching numbers this year, but they certainly weren't poor. They did improve as the season went on. I remember the first game we covered, and I was less than impressed with the pitching numbers, but as the season wore on and the weather got warmer, the pitching certainly got better. And I think cold weather played a big role in the struggles on the mound early in the season. Some big innings allowed by the CSI pitching staff.
Alex Martinez.
Yeah, it's certainly been a struggle here today. So I'm sure Morrow will turn to Derek Jentz. You'd figure, right? In the next game?
We've seen a lot of Jentz this year, and really him and Chris Kornbach, the only 2 pitchers that have started games that...
Right, could be Kornbach. We'll see.
I think you were right with your first instinct regarding Jentz, because Kornbach was getting warm in the bullpen earlier in this game. I'm not sure that'd get him warm if they didn't intend to use him, as that's lined out fairly deep right field, but Nick Miola ranges over to his right to make the grab. And once again, the Bloodhounds put 2 runs up on the scoreboard. They've scored 2 in each of the last 2 innings, preceded by 1 in the 6th and 9 in the 5th for 14 total runs. John Jay over the College of Staten Island, entering the bottom of the 8th inning by a score of 14-5. Dolphins come to bat in their half of the 8th when we come back.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-one physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. Here at Tim Hortons, we know what morning.
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins trailing 14-5, entering the bottom half of the 8th, and their deficit has grown each of the last 3 innings. They trailed by 9 coming out of the 5th, and then by 10 through 6, 12 through 7, and now 14 entering the bottom half of the 8th inning. It will be Frank Muzio to lead things off for the College of Staten Island in their half of the 8th inning. Muzio with a base hit back in the 5th, one of only 2 base hits off of Danny Wynn, who is back out to the mound for John Jay, and he's appeared nearly untouchable. Those 2 base hits he's allowed to the Dolphins, one to Frank Muzio, as I just mentioned, the other to Jordan Wilson. Those hits scattered over 4 2/3 innings. He has not walked a batter. On top of that, it's been a very strong effort for Danny Wynn.
It certainly has, and their bat's exploding, as that's 4 straight innings with at least a run, especially that 5th inning at the 9 spot. So they haven't slowed down much at all.
And clearly that inning was tough for the Dolphins to forget. Things just got worse and worse from that point forward as Muzio lines run down the line foul. And I did mention there was action in the Dolphins bullpen, and I believe that was number 24, Ryan Moore. Not sure we've seen Moore pitch this year. I don't think we have, so Moore is the man up in the bullpen for the College of Staten Island. The man at the plate is Frank Muzio. And here comes the 1-2 pitch from Danny Wynn. That's hit sharply on the ground toward the middle of the diamond and coming up empty on the dive, as I lost my defensive alignment. But that is Philip Balomo over at shortstop, and I need to find that piece of paper. I rely heavily upon it, as that is Frank Muzio reaching on the leadoff single.
So Frank Muzio being one of the few bright spots in this game.
As we find my missing defensive alignment. Glenn Glenister, the batter, and he looks at ball 1.
And Glenn with that 3-run homer way back in the 3rd, I believe. Yeah, 3rd inning.
It was,
and that was that almost looked to be a rally killer.
Good point, Bobby. We mentioned the Grand Slam could serve that purpose, but it looked like the Glenister home run may have done just that. That went up and into Glenister, and that brings the thought to mind as Anthony Lozada took one off the numbers earlier. John Jay now leading by 9 runs in the 8th inning. If they hadn't plunked Lozada earlier, Glenister could very well have seen one thrown at him here. That's, of course, assuming that Lozada was hit intentionally, as that's hit to shallow right field, falling fast and in front of Osborne for a base hit, and they'll throw over to second. But that base running handled properly by Frank Muzio got the necessary lead between first and second base about halfway and advanced to second base safely on the single by Glenister.
Yeah, and again, good to see Glenn finding some outfield grass. As we mentioned it, he's had not much luck this year up at the plate. It's a lot of line outs, a lot of hard outs, but it's good to see him coming along here. And they're going to need him in these hopefully next couple games.
Two relievers getting warm for John Jay in the bullpen. Danny Wynn surrendered a hard hit single to Frank Muzio. Muzio has had Wynn's number. 2 base hits and a couple of at-bats against him. But not much else for the Dolphins, as Glenister's single was some tough luck for Danny Wynn. That one blooped into right field and fell in front of Ryan Osborne. The count on Anthony Lozada is even at 1. Wynn looks towards second and delivers, and that's it sharply toward the middle of the diamond, and it gets by and into center field off the wrist of Belomo. Going first to third is Glenister, and coming around to score the Dolphins' 6th run of the game is Frank Muzio. Dolphins now trail by 8. Our score, John Jay 14, CSI 6.
So good job there from Lozada. Getting a base up the middle, and the Dolphins making some noise here. Although still down 8.
Well, Belomo clearly had double play on his mind, and I think he may have taken his eyes off the ball just a bit too soon.
That's exactly what happened, Joe.
Tough spot. It was a, tough hop. Tough spot to be in as well, trying to turn that double play, but more so a tough hop at the end as well. And if you take your eyes off the ball and it takes a sharp hop like that, it's tough to recover. And unfortunately for him, he couldn't knock it down as he was ranging to his left, and the ball deflected off of him and into center field. Here's some noise.
Hear some cheers from the softball. Just down a little bit from us.
It's the bottom of the 6th, so the Dolphins maybe on the verge of closing that game out. They lead 6-0 over Hunter. Dolphins baseball looking to make a comeback as John Pomarico swings and misses, and I think that game just came to a close. I may have heard a final announced. We'll see. It would have taken a home run, as on my screen I had 1 runner on base and nobody out in the bottom of the 6th, so it would have taken a home run to end the game. But those cheers certainly worthy praise of a home run. They were louder than anything we've heard today from down the hill. Those cheers much more concentrated too. A lot of the fans gathered in one small area behind home plate where we have bleachers at the softball field, and Pomarico checks his swing. He went around for strike 2. Well, softball's live stats don't want to load, so I think that game came to a close. I think that's a safe bet. I'll check.
Oh, yeah, we'll just assume that for now.
I'll check Twitter. That's always a good place to look, as Pomarico takes just off the outside corner, evening the count at 2.
And Wynn wanted that one. That was a good pitch.
I think it's my Wi-Fi that dropped, Bobby. Oh, there it goes. As Pomarico grounds one toward the middle, off the glove of Wynn, and everybody's safe, and things are starting to break the Dolphins' way, Bobby. The deficit's still 7 runs, but nobody out in the Dolphins' half of the 8th inning.
Yeah, a little bit. At least they're making some noise here, the Dolphins, and unfortunately for them, this lead's still at 7.
The shortstop, number 2, Jet Navarrete.
Well, the Dolphins immediately awarded a hit on that. Not an easy play by any means for Wynn, but got a glove on it and couldn't make the play. And this might be the end of the line for Danny Wynn. Dolphins in this inning with 4 base hits, all singles, 2 runs home. The batter will be Jet Navarrete, and Wynn still standing on the mound. Perhaps they are buying time for a reliever. In the bullpen for John Jay, number 6, Jeremy Sheets. He's warming up on the left, and try to get a look at the number of the reliever on the right. That is number 12, Nick Jack. So Jack and Sheets warming up in the bullpen for John Jay, and it will indeed be Danny Wynn remaining in the game to face Jet Navarrete.
Nick Jack. That's a good movie name.
You know, I thought the same thing. Here's the first pitch to Naverny. That's up high for ball one. Dolphins haven't hit the ball very hard in this inning. Muzio hit the ball pretty well on his leadoff single, but not much since. As Jet Naverny takes a breaking ball in the outside corner for a called strike one. That evens the count at 1. The runner on second is Lozada. Pomerico stands over at first. And that one partially blocked by Monsino. He has no clue where it is. And Dolphins probably could have moved up a base each there. At least Lozada could have, because he had a nice lead off second. But
yeah, Lozada certainly could have. And I mean, once he didn't know where the ball was, he did the right thing by staying there, because you don't want to get thrown out of third. But
of course,
initially he definitely could have gotten to third.
Better to play it safe, down by 7 runs, as that's hit sharply toward the middle. Another chance for Belomo. Flip on to second for 1, and Jet Naverny beats it out, as Belomo didn't like the call. Close play at first, but Naverny called safe, and advancing to third is Anthony Lozada.
The center fielder, number 1, Jordan Wilson.
Back to the top of the order for the Dolphins. It is Jordan Wilson. Wilson does have a base hit off of Danny Wynn, and 2 plate appearances against him in this game. This game just about 3 hours old now, as we play in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Jordan Wilson takes a called strike one. Owen won the count on Wilson, and he looks at a pitch just out of the zone, and it is over at softball. CSI wins 8-0. Mercy rule invoked in the bottom of the 6th, so CSI moves on.
Was it a home run?
It was not.
It was not.
As Wilson hits one out to right field, getting underneath it is Osborne. He makes the catch, and coming home from third is Anthony Lozada with the 8th Dolphins run. CSI still trailing by 6. This looks a lot like game number 1 from yesterday. Of course, Baruch scored 19 runs, but if you told CCNY going in that they would score, I believe it was 7 on, I think it was 11 or 12 base hits. I'll double check that. Not important, but if you told CCNY they would get the production at the plate they got yesterday, they probably would have taken it. As taking off for second is Naverny, and the tag did not make contact with Jet as he slides in safely. Good recovery there behind the plate by Monsino. Nice stop as well.
Scooped that one up. That was a tough play.
He was in an awkward spot after he was able to scoop that ball up and fired a good throw over to second as DeMarco rolls over one. That evens the count at 1-1. So softball has come to a close today. Dolphins with a pair of victories, defeating Baruch in game 1. It was Hunter over Lehman in game 2. Lehman over Baruch in game 3. Baruch's season is over. And the College of Staten Island over Hunter in game 4. So that would make game 1 tomorrow Hunter and Lehman, with the loser seeing their season come to a close, and then the winner would have to take 2 from the College of Staten Island to secure the CUNYAC championship. A tough task for any team, but neither of those teams able to get the better of the Dolphins this season. Men's baseball may find themselves in a spot where they have to win 2 tomorrow to secure a CUNYAC championship, as Anthony DeMarco looks at ball 4.
The catcher, number 35, Sean Becker.
Sean Becker is the batter with 2 men on and 2 out. Becker with 1 base hit and 4 at bats. Certainly a candidate to bring CSI within 3 on 1 big swing, but of course CSI just wants to keep this inning going. Heart of the order behind Becker Nick Miola stands on deck. Frank Muzio behind him. He's certainly gotten the better of Danny Wynn. And Glenn Glenister, along with Frank Muzio, had base hits in this inning as well. So the Dolphins close to batting around in this inning, as it will take Sean Becker reaching to make that happen, and he takes ball 2. As things have gone from bad to worse for the Dolphins, that seems to be the case with the Mets as well, as they quickly are behind 1-0 tonight against the Colorado Rockies, to my disappointment. I hate to say it, but I find myself envious of the Yankee fans. A tremendous young core on that team. They're a pitcher or 2 away from really establishing themselves once again as a potential dynasty in the making.
I agree, Joe.
I'm sure you do. Here comes the 2-1 pitch as that's fouled back. And
no, you're right, though. As a Yankee fan, it's definitely exciting to see what they're doing. And as you said, the young core that they have, along with Stanton and Gardner, even though Gardner's coming up to a slow start, but everybody else is really just doing a fine job so far.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count on Sean Becker, and he hits one out deep to left field. Going back is Meyer, and he watches it bounce and hit the wall. 2 runs come home to score, and Sean Becker has a 2 RBI double. Here come the Dolphins as they now trail by 4 runs. Our score, John Jay 14 and CSI 10.
And listen, we talked about it. You knew this team wasn't going to die, even though they were down 8 or 9 runs, and here they are down 4 now. And this is a big run at second if Nick Miller could get him in. And they cut the deficit to 3. But regardless, the Dolphins doing what they do best and showing some fight here when their back's against the wall.
Well, we spoke about it. We knew better than to rule the Dolphins out of this game. It was looking more and more like CSI would have to play again tonight, but that may not be the case. They still trail by 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th with 2 outs, but Nick Miola coming to bat with Sean Becker standing over on second base, 2 away. And the Dolphins trailing by 4 runs. We'll stay with you through this pitching change as the action, of course, has picked up here at the CSI Baseball Complex. And the new pitcher will be number 12, Nick Jack. So we'll have a lot of fun saying that name for at least a batter or 2 here in the 8th inning. But I'll have the numbers on Jack in just a moment. Jack comes in having appeared in 9 games, all in relief. In his only decision, he picked up the loss. He's pitched to a 7.24 ERA in 13 2/3 innings. He's allowed 16 base hits, 16 runs, 11 of those earned. He has walked 13 and struck out 12. He has allowed 7 extra base hits, including 3 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs. You don't have to see a pitcher who's allowed upwards of 3 home runs in a season. Not many pitchers get enough action to allow 3 home runs, as oftentimes home runs are few and far between. We've seen a couple in this game. Both some towering shots.
Yeah, we certainly have. Both pretty much no doubters off the bat.
Well, actually, Bobby, we have seen 3 home runs in this game.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's going to sneak by me every time if it comes up, because it is a home run, but I still don't count it. That was just a bizarre turn. That was just bizarre. I don't know. I don't have anything else to describe it.
Well, I can describe it this way. We've seen 3 home runs, and not all of them have cleared the outfield wall.
Yeah.
You do the math. But Dolphins trail by 4, bottom of the 8th, and it will be Nick Miola coming to bat against Nick Jack. I did not mention in 57 plate appearances against Nick Jack, opponents hitting at .281. And on the topic of home runs, we'll take a look at some of the home run numbers. First for the Dolphins, and this season CSI has 8 home runs, and no player had more than 2. So this CSI team not really prolific in the home run department. But they did have 65 doubles. That's a good number, and I'm about to flip my phone over as the Mets are down 3-0. I don't need to see any more of this.
And pitching not really a strong point of today's game, as they combined 23 hits on the board.
Well, we saw 26 runs scored yesterday, and
27 hits. I'm sorry.
There's a chance we might surpass that total, as 24 have been scored in this game, and at the rate we're going, this game might go 4 hours.
27 hits.
have to admit, I don't appreciate it after an hour late start.
Yeah, we knew we were in for a long one, which we certainly are here today.
There's a nice block by Monsino on the backhand. An ill-advised throw behind the runner, and only because Becker slid did he have to hold at second base. Count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. It has been an entertaining day of action, to say the least. It's hard to believe that I've been on the premises since 9 a.m. this morning. It's been a long day. You arrived about an hour after me. What's even more remarkable is that in the time we've been here now, coming up on 10.5 hours, we've only played 1 full game.
It's nothing we're not used to. Up in the booth, I feel like these games usually take very long.
Well, it seems as if the allergens are out of the air, so I'm good to go the rest of the night.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing okay over there for now. I need you.
As Miola lines one over the outstretched glove of Martinez into left field. Here comes Sean Becker. The throw to the plate is in on a bounce, and Becker slides in safely. Dolphins pull to within 3 as Becker is pumped. That was a good throw from out in left field by C.J. Meyer, in on 1 hop, and the play at the plate goes in the favor of the Dolphins, as now Frank Muzio will get his second at-bat of the inning. CSI now within 3.
And they certainly are pumped, as they should be, as they were down 8 runs, and looking up at the board now, they're only down 3. So they certainly have a fighting chance here. And still 2 outs.
What a game.
In the bottom of the 8th.
What a game this
certainly is.
If CSI were to come back and win this one, it would be a comeback for the ages. I'm not sure I've ever witnessed a comeback that would be greater than this.
I have. But that's only because it was the championship game.
How many runs?
It was, well, just the way it was. It was George Cantion's grand slam just to tie the game, and that was just unbelievable. Run.
In terms of
run-wise, I think this would do it. I think it would. But that game was just incredible. That was played at MCU Park, of course, where the Cyclones play in Coney Island.
Another ballpark that I frequented as a youngster back in the day. Despite being a Mets fan, I actually grew up a Staten Island Yankees fan. Always considered myself a Staten Islander. So I rolled with the Staten Island Yankees over the Cyclones. 0-2 the count on Frank Muzio. And he has to jump out of the way. The tying run is in the on-deck circle, and the man who stands there is Glenn Glenister. He's already hit a 3-run homer in this game, so you know that he'll probably take at least 1 swing for the fences if he gets a turn.
At least 1.
At least.
At least 2.
You know him better than I do, as that's hit well out to left field. But Meyer was playing pretty deep, and he gets underneath it to make the catch for the 3rd out. So John Jay finally escapes the bottom half of the 8th, but we have a game again. 25 runs between these two teams. John Jay leads the College of Staten Island by a score of 14-11. Bloodhounds come to bat in the top of the 9th inning when we come back.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The #1 goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life. One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The #1 goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
We are back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins have pulled to within 3 in a remarkable game, and we stand here in complete disbelief as Tom Krichkowski has rejoined us from down at softball. He has completed 4 games worth of work.
And we're still in our second.
And we are still in our second. Bobby and I have a long night ahead of us, but of course Tom will be here with us all the way, so he'll get to enjoy the air conditioning as we carry on from down the hall where there is no air conditioning, but hopefully within the next hour or two that won't matter as much as...
Yeah, no complaints. It's been great here, this weather here today. The only thing, it's such a long day. And we almost knew coming in. Once we heard the delay, the hour delay, we were like, oh, it's already starting. And that's been the case.
Yep, we were certainly on the money with that prediction. I'm not sure we could have predicted much else that has transpired here today. Finlandia over Baruch, ending their season in an upset, and then 25 runs here in the second game. Dolphins leading 5-0, look to be rolling toward a victory, and, well, that didn't happen, to say the least. And how many times have I said that today? Is so many remarkable things have happened on the diamond today. Chris Karnbach to the mound for the Dolphins. And his first pitch to Ryan Osborne misses for ball 1. I have the numbers on Karnbach in front of me. Following this next pitch, I'll share those.
So very important here for Karnbach to keep this lead, or this deficit, rather, I should say, at 3.
Big swing there by Osborne, and nothing but air for strike 2. And very quickly, the numbers on Chris Karnbach. 10 appearances, 3 of those starts. He's pitched to a record of 3 wins and 3 losses. An ERA of 3.86, good for second best on the team. In 32 2/3, he's allowed 31 hits, 18 runs, 14 of those earned. He has walked 15, struck out 19, and allowed 7 extra base hits, including 5 doubles, a triple, and a home run. And 124 at-bats against him, opponents hitting .250 on the dot. So Karnbach, the new pitcher for the Dolphins, and his 1-1 pitch is in for a called strike 2. As I look down toward the Bearcats bullpen, looks like Danny Wynn has rejoined his teammates out there. His day is over, of course. And that's ripped out into left center field, and that could be an extra base hit. Osborne takes the turn. He will head for second. Throw from Jordan Wilson, not in time, as Osborne slides in with a leadoff double.
And their base running has really been phenomenal. It certainly has. And, like, just off the bat, knowing that he has 2, although Wilson did eventually cut that down, didn't proceed to get to the wall, but still taking second base, and they've done a good job.
That's a good point, Bobby, is John Jay has made the most of every opportunity on the base paths in a year where we've said it so many times. Teams running themselves out of innings, just boneheaded decisions on the base paths as well. And
that's a good point, too. I think that's why it's sticking out so much, that we've seen a lot of base running blunders. But instead, today, for John Jay, that's been the opposite.
You're absolutely right, as William De La Cruz is the batter. Earlier in the game, he came up to bat with his sleeves rolled up to his shoulders. Now he has his jersey buttoned down about halfway. De La Cruz making a statement with his choice of attire. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's popped up on the infield, and the infield umpire nowhere to be found this time as Frank Muzio makes the catch for the first out.
The first baseman, number 34, Brian Garcia.
Guess I should have known better, but before we got started, I wasn't aware that we were scheduled to have 3 umpires in these games. We only had 1 during the playing of the national anthem prior to our first game, and then now...
Yeah, we did start with 1.
In game number 3, we're back up to 3 umpires. I think we started the first game with 2. And
yeah.
Now we have the full complement of umpires with us.
Yeah, initially it was looking like we were going to start the game with 1. But then he was joined by his colleague, and... Yep, now we're up to 3.
1-0 the count to Brian Garcia, and Sean Becker lost that one for a moment, but nice job by Chris Karnbach to charge it and grab it. Two 2-0 the count on Brian Garcia, looking for his second hit of the game. Has been on base twice. And again, a pitch down in the dirt from Karnbach, and it's blocked by Becker, but that runs the count to 3-0. Finlandia has been sitting and watching for quite some time now. They are beginning to assemble by the bullpen entrance along the right field line. They're ready to go as that is on the outside corner for strike one. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and that's on the inside corner for a called strike two.
And you almost, you just had the feeling that this run at second could potentially make a very big difference in this game for both sides.
And the 3-2 pitch is ripped. Lozada fields it on one hop, so he will go to first with it for the second out.
I think that'll bring up C.J. Meyer.
It will. Meyer is hitless in this game. Is he the only Bloodhound without a hit?
Number 9, C.J. Meyer.
He is not. Looks like he's one of two, the other being Alexis Martinez. So Meyer looking for his first base hit. It would bring home a run, and that gets by Becker, and that's backbreaking for the Dolphins. That will bring home a run, and
that's tough.
It is.
That's tough.
And you can just see it. Frank Muzio turns his back. Anthony DeMarco moves into a squat jet. Navertney hands on his knees, head down, and that is demoralizing for the CSI team as they see that deficit grow back to 4. 26 runs ties the most we've seen in any of our games during this CUNYAC baseball tournament, and there is still more baseball to be played here tonight. One more game as part of our triple header. Stay with us. But forgive Bobby and I if we come on the air a bit close to first pitch, as our vocal cords might need a break. And Jordan Wilson makes the catch on that fly ball for the third out. So the Dolphins will enter the bottom of the 9th inning down by 4. Our score, John Jay 15, College of Staten Island 11. Dolphins with their last chance when we come back.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Bottom of the 9th inning about to get underway from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins trailing by 4. Glenn Glenister will be the batter, and he takes a called strike one.
And this is the man you want up if you're the Dolphins to get it started. Certainly the man you want up if there's people on base, as I should say.
He swung the bat well in this game. Comes the 0-1. That's skied out to right center. No one took command right away, but Diaz makes the catch on the run for the first out.
And a good job there by Diaz. That's what you have to do as a center fielder. You have to run, and if you have it, you call it. You are in control of the outfield.
1 away in the Dolphins' half of the ninth, and Anthony Lozada will be the batter. And the Dolphins now relying upon the bottom of the order to keep this game going. Lozada had a base hit in his last at bat. He takes high for ball 1. Here's the 1-0 from Nick Jack, and it's on the outside corner for a called strike, evening the count at 1.
Nick Jack, I'm a fan of that name, if you can't tell, Joe.
Definitely can.
So Nick Jack, if you do watch this back, you got a great name.
That swung on and missed by Anthony Lozada, which runs the count to 1-2. And if he could shut the door on the Dolphins in this game, he will add a good outing to his name as well, as that's just off the outside corner. Looked outside from here.
Yeah, it did. It did. It was a great pitch. I can see why some of the fans wanted that one, but it was a little bit out. Regardless of the outcome, you said it, Joe. What a great game we had here today. And still one more to go.
And Lozada swings and misses for strike 3, and the Dolphins are down to their final out.
So no matter what, it's going to be different this year. In the championship game, it's been CSI and Baruch. And Baruch already eliminated.
The Dolphins will be playing to keep their season alive if they can't find some 2-out magic here in the bottom of the 9th inning. The deficit is 4. John Pomerico is the batter for the Dolphins, and he takes a called strike 1. Oh, and 1 the count on Pomerico. And that misses up high, evening the count at 1-1. Taking a look at the chat right now, and it's interesting. We have people waiting for Finlandia on the West Coast.
Really? Is this the final game?
We have some explaining to do then.
John Dubkowski, no, it is not.
Yeah, I have to keep this open during the game.
Yeah, didn't even notice that.
Definitely don't want to burn cellular data over it, but that's the extent of our chat. Not too extensive, but John, this is not the final game. If you are still watching, the final game hopefully will get started by about 8:15.
And for you Finlandia fans, have to be happy. Your team is rolling, and they played exceptionally well in the first game.
It looks like Finlandia will get started around 8 p.m. Pacific as Pomerico draws the 2-out walk.
The shortstop, number 2, Jet Navertney.
Jet Navertney will be the batter. Dolphins will need to load the bases to get the tying run to the plate. Of course, that's if they do not score before then. Should the tying run come to the plate, it would be Anthony DeMarco. Jet Navertney looks at ball 1. So to answer some of the questions from the comments, this is not the final game. The final game, assuming this one ends within the next 10 minutes, would be at about 8:20 Eastern time, that is, as Navertney looks at ball 2. If John Jay wins, and Amanda is right, if John Jay wins, they go on to play tomorrow. If they manage to squander this 4-run lead with 2 outs in the 9th, they will play Finlandia coming up next.
Yep, Amanda's right.
And the winner of our final game would play the winner of this game tomorrow. So if John Jay holds on, the winner of the game between CSI and Finlandia would play John Jay tomorrow and have to defeat the Bloodhounds in back-to-back games to win the CUNYAC championship. So I hope everyone who had questions is still watching and that cleared things up. You can comment in the chat if you are still listening. As there's a fan doing some tricep work on the railing. 3-1 the count on Jet Navertny, so all of a sudden Jack is in some trouble as he's struggling to find the strike zone, and he finds the corner there. That's in for a called strike two. The count is full. Pomarico will be running on the pitch.
The Dolphins down to their final strike here.
Here comes the payoff pitch. That's fouled back. Jordan Wilson on deck, followed by Anthony DeMarco in the hole, and DeMarco would represent the tying run.
And DeMarco certainly has some pop.
Yes, this game did indeed start an hour late, unfortunately. It's been a long day, and it's not nearly over yet as Pomarico runs once again, and Navertny takes high for ball four, and this Dolphins team just will not die. They continue to battle, trailing by 4 runs. Trailed in this game by as many as 9. And we will have a pitching change for Baruch. So we'll stay with you through the change in pitcher.
And you're running out of some room there on your scorecard there, Joe.
Yeah, I've been talking about my scorecard far too often today. As even last night, the scorecard was very crowded.
Just a ton of offensive display in both games. This game combined 29 hits and 26 runs, which is ridiculous, honestly.
We'll review this game from start to finish best we can as the new pitcher is on for John Jay. I think that's number, looked like maybe 28? Sean Napier. So I know I'm familiar with Napier from earlier in the season. We saw him pitch against the Dolphins when John Jay was here. Numbers for Napier on the season. He comes in having appeared in 9 games, 7 of those starts. He's pitched to a record of 4-1 with a 5.4 ERA. In 46 2/3, he's allowed 56 base hits, 31 runs, 28 of those earned. He has walked 18 and struck out 21, allowing 19 extra base hits, including 12 doubles, a triple, but Bobby, 6 home runs. That did come in 196 opposing at-bats against him. In those at-bats, opponents hitting at 286. So
yeah, I was going to say his last name, Napier, seemed relevant, I'm sure. So they're wasting no time here. They want to get this game over with as he's one of their main pitchers.
He is, and 6 home runs allowed. Home run doesn't play a big role yet, but if Anthony DeMarco got a hold of one, we would find ourselves tied. In order to bring him to the plate, Jordan Wilson has to get on, and he will be the batter with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. To quickly recap this game best we can, Dolphins led 2-0. Glenn Glenister hits a 3-run homer, flips his bat halfway between home and first base. That ignites John Jay. They put up a 9 spot. In the 5th, they had 6 more, and now lead 15-11 after the Dolphins put up a 6 spot of their own in the bottom of the 8th. So Dolphins now find themselves trailing by 4, 2 men on, 2 outs. Jordan Wilson, the batter, just looked at a called strike 1. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's swung on and missed by Wilson. Dolphins once again down to their final strike.
And even if you're a neutral fan tuning in to watch this game, I'm sure you want to see Wilson reach just to see what DeMarco can do if he can tie this game with 1 swing.
0-2 the count. The pitch from Napier. Ooh. And the Bloodhounds cannot believe it. Neither can Sean Napier out there on the mound. The dugout wanted that call.
Yeah, it certainly got played, so I'm assuming that's low from our angle.
Close pitch. Wilson stays alive. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Dolphins hoping for a chance to bring the tying run to the plate. And that is in for a called strike 3. Wilson looks at the breaking ball from Sean Napier, who comes on to record the final out of the game for the Bloodhounds. They close the door on a 15-11 victory over the College of Staten Island and will advance into the final round of the CUNYAC Championship Tournament, needing only one more victory to secure this year's CUNYAC Baseball Championship. And Bobby, what a game between these two teams. We saw them play each other twice during the regular season. The Dolphins took both of those meetings, but it is the Bloodhounds that come into the CSI Baseball Complex on championship weekend and defeat the Dolphins in CSI's second game. Now the Dolphins will have to win 3 straight in order to secure the CUNYAC Championship.
And it certainly was some game, as you said, Joe. CSI off to an early 5-0 lead after that Glenn Glenister 3-run homer, but John Jay did not quit as they scored 9 in the 5th, and ultimately going up about 8, and then CSI making a late run as they usually do. And just an overall great game. 29 combined hits, as I said, 26 combined runs. So I mean, the bats were just all over today, which was good to see if you're a fan. But a long game, but it was worth it. It was well worth it. A very good game.
It was well worth it. I'm sure an entertaining game to watch, an entertaining game for us to call. We enjoyed it, though we have been here for quite a while and will be with you at least 2.5 hours plus longer tonight, as in about 30 minutes, the College of Staten Island will take on Finlandia, and the Lions, by virtue of a victory earlier today, eliminating the Baruch College Bearcats, earning the right to play the loser of the Dolphins Bloodhounds game. And of course, that losing team is the College of Staten Island. So the Dolphins will take the field again in about a half an hour to take on the Lions of Finlandia University. We have some final numbers from our matchup between the Bloodhounds and Dolphins for you. First, for John Jay, it was Jared Hirschfield who got the start on the mound through 2 1/3 innings, allowed 5 runs, all of them earned on 6 base hits. He walked 2 and struck out a pair as well. In relief, Danny Wynn was very good up until about the 8th inning, and things really fell apart for him in that 8th inning. Perhaps they pushed him a bit too long. He threw 5 1/3, allowed 6 runs, all of them earned on 7 base hits. I believe 5 of those hits came in the 8th. And Wynn walked a batter, struck out 3 as well through 87 pitches. So Wynn was extended, but looks like it was worth it, as Wynn really shut the Dolphins down for the middle innings, and then in the 8th inning faltered. But fortunately for the Bloodhounds, they'd added enough insurance to keep themselves in front. Behind Danny Wynn, Nick Jack threw an inning, did not allow a run, only allowed 1 base hit, did walk 2 batters, also picked up a strikeout, and Sean Napier came on to record the final out of the game for John Jay College. He struck out Jordan Wilson on a breaking ball looking, and that forces the Dolphins to play again here tonight. As taking a look at some of the standouts for John Jay, it was Ryan Osborne who had 4 base hits in this game, scored 3 runs, drove in a pair as well. 2 of those 4 hits were doubles. Also, Jarrell Diaz with a pair of base hits and 5 RBIs, including, of course, the big blow, a grand slam. However, that grand slam still put the Bloodhounds to only within a run of the Dolphins. They were trailing following that Diaz grand slam, but ultimately, of course, overtook the Dolphins in the 5th inning with a 9 spot. For the College of Staten Island, Jordan Wilson with a pair of base hits. Same goes for Sean Becker, Nick Miola, Frank Muzio, Glenn Glenister, and John Pomarico. The Dolphins with 14 base hits in this game, 11 runs scored. It was not enough as they fall by 4. Dolphins lose to the Bloodhounds by a final score of 15-11. So lastly, I have the pitching numbers for the Dolphins before we sign off. Tom Musso threw 4 innings, allowed 4 runs, 3 of those earned on 2 base hits. He walked 3 and struck out 5, throwing 96 pitches. Juan Rodriguez, an inning and a third, allowed 6 runs, 2 of those earned on 7 base hits. He walked 2. Terrence Mulligan in 2 2/3, allowed 4 runs, 2 of those earned on 5 base hits. And Chris Karnbach came on and allowed 1 run. It was unearned. He did allow a single base hit in that inning, but that unearned run he allowed, very unfortunate late. It occurred, I believe, on a wild pitch. Of course, the responsibility of Karnbach. So, Bobby, any final thoughts following this Dolphins defeat at the hands of John Jay?
I mean, listen, it was a tough defeat, especially after having a 5-0 lead. But you can only think one way right now if you're the Dolphins, and that's must win. You have to win this game to advance, and we can expect that they'll come out and look to win this game.
The next game, a must-win for both teams. College of Staten Island Dolphins take on the Lions of Finlandia University. We will be back with the call of that game at approximately, I believe, about 8:20. But until then, this has been Joe Foreman for Bobby Drake and all of us here at the College of Staten Island. Thank you for watching. Once again, our final score, John Jay College 15, College of Staten Island 11. Our next broadcast in about 25 minutes as the Dolphins take on the Lions here at the CSI Baseball Complex on CUNYAC Championship Weekend. This has been exclusive CUNY Championship baseball coverage on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com.